course uncertain, through the laughter of the breeze. A jeering crowd, their voices rising, mocking words cut like a blade. He stumbled down, a storm ignited, a choice was made, a price was paid. Shadows fell on the Apple River, where peace turned into pain. A fleeting spark, a moment bitter, now nothing feels the same. A knife was drawn, a life was taken, the river carried shame. Shadows fell on the Apple River, and no one left unchanged. The chaos broke like waves and thunder. A hand struck out in rage, a desperate act, the line asunder. He couldn't turn the page, and when the cries had turned to silence, he walked back to his friends. He wore a mask of calm defiance, but truth won't let pretend. Shadows fell on the Apple River, where peace turned into pain. A fleeting spark, a moment bitter, now nothing feels the same. A knife was drawn, a life was taken, the river carried shame. Shadows fell on the Apple River, and no one left unchanged. Now a cell holds the echoes of that day. Questions whispered, but the answers stay away. What led him down that darkened road? What weight does he bear in his soul? Shadows fell on the Apple River, where peace turned into pain. A fleeting spark, a moment bitter, now nothing feels the same. A knife was drawn, a life was taken, the river carried shame. Whoa! Shadows fell on the Apple River, and no one left unchanged. The Apple River flows on still, its waters cold and deep. It holds the stories good and ill of those it chose to keep.
You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Dave. This is FFOP Radio. Welcome to it. Welcome back to it. If you're a long-time caller, first-time listener sort of deal. In studio, of course, I've got my co-host and producer Krista's over there.
Hey, that's me.
So, why have we come here this episode, right? So, this is not a case, rather. It's true crime stuff, by the way. What's happening, Tony? Maxwell?
Hey.
Welcome, everybody.
Brick.
So, this isn't like a huge case, and it's not like one that has to do with like revenge or money or deceit or anything crazy like that. It boils down to like, just mind your own business. Mind your own goddamn business, basically. So what happened was our dude, Nicolae here in Wisconsin, I believe, went to, spend some time tubing on the river. We've got a river here. People tube on it. People get drunk, die every year, and stab each other and do all kinds of crazy shit. Because people can't mind their own business. Like when alcohol enters the party at like where the public at large, like it's not a party in your house, like it's a river full of yahoos and coolers of beer. Shit goes bad and people can't keep their noses out of other people's business.
Right. Don't be a boomer.
I can't, some people just can't help it. People are like turning into boomers as we speak. It's like weird. But here's the long and the short of it. What we're going to be going over tonight is the cross-examination, what prosecution is going to put this man through. He was up on the stand for a long time, like in, just like free-form jazz style with his defense attorney.
Nice.
And I have linked the interrogation footage in the show notes here. So if you want to see like a little bit of more, detail, I'm going to give you the hi-hats, the Cliff's Notes. And then we'll just sort of jump into it. But basically, that's all you need to know. Nicolae got with his friends, decided to go to the river. They were drinking a lot. Brought a knife with him.
Because that's what you would do, going to the river.
Like,
bring a knife.
His backpedaling excuse is like for cutting the string that he was going to tie the tubes together. And here's the thing. Most places, I'm sure, because they say it here, they say, don't tie your tubes together.
Don't
It's
get your
a bad
tubes
idea.
tied.
Yeah, because it'll be like if one of you flips over or something crazy happens, it's better to be separate
Right, then you're
than
all
taking down the
flipped.
whole armada. But whatever. So the story is, I'll tell you what actually happened, then I'll tell you the Cliff's Notes of the interrogation because they're fundamentally different. He was looking for a friend of his phone who was apparently dropped it in the river. And instead of looking around where they were, he crosses a 150-foot river to hassle some kids.
Like if they stole the phone?
Not even that. Like, he didn't even bring up the phone because here's the thing. This was all caught on video by multiple people.
Of course.
Like, so
It's the river.
The kids involved were like between 17 and 20-something. So they started calling him, like a pedo and stuff, and they're calling like we'll get into it because they'll play a little bit in the court here, but they start like harassing him, and he can't that's the thing when you get a bunch of people out in public, you start acting weird around one another. It's not gonna go well. So, moral of the story is he horribly mutilated a bunch of these kids and killed one of them. And after that, what's happened to Rachel?
Hey.
Immediately after committing these horrible acts, he goes across the river even further from where his friends are, ditches the knife,
Nice.
goes all the way back across to his friends, gets back in the tubes. They go, oh, what's going on? Because by now, the police have been called because everybody is now videotaping the scene. Like, we get it from multiple different angles. They're not going to show any of it in the footage we're going to see because it is super brutal. Like, the river ran red and multiple kids were cut to ribbons. But gets in the tubes, and just floats away. Doesn't bring it up, doesn't act agitated, doesn't impart to his friends that he just had to defend himself because that's what they all say. They have to stand their ground.
You're right.
No, nothing. Doesn't tell his friends. So then when the cops find him, because they were pictures of him circulating by then,
Yep.
they make him take his jacket and his hat off because he was hiding. And so they put him in the back of the thing. They go, what? Because you'll see part of it here too. They put him in the back of the car and he's like, I heard there was a fight and kids will be kids. And then, so that's what actually happened. He got pissed drunk for God knows what reason, decided to pick a fight with a bunch of kids quarter his age and slaughter some of them. In his story that he tells to the detective in the interrogation footage that's linked, he goes, I was at the river. I was looking for my friend's phone. These people were harassing me and they were attacking me. One of them came at him with a knife and he deflected it Jason Bourne style.
Nice.
Was able to take the knife from this child essentially. And but in his story, there's 2 knives involved and he was being attacked by the Foot Clan and shit like that. And so
came.
He never admitted to having his own knife, but the video shows it, and he's constantly feeling it through his pocket like a horny teenager at a dance.
Oh.
So this is going to be one of those ones where, like the Shonda Vander Arks or the Nancy Brophies, it's going to be I don't remember. Even though there's like, if it were still film, it would be miles of film evidence of him having prolonged interactions with all law enforcement at every level, like from the arresting officer to detective and beyond. And he is just a mental blank from, I mean, the prosecutor will get into it. Basically anything that is damning against him, like a whole
like
my head.
A 12-minute span of time in a river.
But all he remembers he was standing his ground and defending himself. The rest of his life is purely a haze. Where was he born? Where is he now? He doesn't know. He just knows at some point he was standing his ground and defending himself, Jason Bourne style, flipping people and getting the knives out of their hands like he's a Kill Bill villain. He
didn't have the charm of Shonda Vander Ark. Oh, yeah. She's such a charming individual.
So that's he's a dead fish. Like his story, and they'll get into it too. He basically debunks his story from stem to stern.
Hair.
It's all bullshit. And he's like totally sucked out now. We'll see him a little bit in the footage when it's at the river, because again, it's shot from multiple angles because everybody's got a goddamn camera phone, and when people start yelling, people start recording.
Right.
So he was like a very rotund man, like very big beer belly looking, like when you're like an overinflated uncle. And he's been sucked out because he's been in jail for I think a year plus.
Wow.
1994 is not a bad place to get stuck, Brick. Like, come on, man.
It's a just game.
It's a just game. Yeah, he does have that kind of accent. He's got. I don't. He's from some Eastern European bloc country. But so there are the finer points, the details, the whatever, will all come out in the wash. But like the amount of times he's gonna go, I don't remember. Oh, also, this is gonna be annoying too. I thought it was like every time this happened, I thought they were playing video because they're not gonna show a lot of the video. Like the cameraman refuses to pan over. At some point, this defense attorney is so like objection, objection, objection. And like 3 or 4 times they go, approach. And instead of just cutting the mic, I thought they were playing like video footage of like waves, but they just go.
Oh.
Which is semi-annoying. Can't help that, but let's get going.
He dyed his hair because he was worried he wouldn't look like Dracula.
Yeah, he does look like the guy from Dracula Untold's dad.
Okay, you recognize that?
Yes.
That's the group photo of you folks from the beginning of the river?
Yep.
Jack, you're holding a beer?
Correct.
So he's going to sail right over this. But yeah, I believe you can't go to a river and not be drunk.
Or, not be holding a beer.
Not even that, but like that, people, like there's a river here and we spent a lot of time at it when I was in high school. I never got drunk on the river because I was like, what a great way to die. Like on water, dehydrated, on a tube.
Yep.
Because like it's 100 million degrees here. Moral of the story is like everybody that was anybody who went out to the river and was more than one person, like let's say 4 people are going, 5 tubes. One's the beer cooler.
Yeah.
Looks like everybody in your group has some sort of alcoholic beverage.
Looks like it.
You see numerous people in your group with these phone cases around their necks.
Yes.
And as you're going down the river, you saw lots of people with phone cases around their necks, right? Mm-hmm. All day long?
Yeah.
That's the interesting
In fact, River's Edge sells or rents out those phone cases, right?
Makes sense.
I don't know that.
I don't know that.
Did people in your group rent or
Did
buy
you
phone
get
cases
one?
from the tube rental?
I have no
stand?
idea.
All right.
So annoying. That's the thing. Because since it's, again, we're in a prosecutorial setting, like he can't tell a bold-faced lie out of whole cloth like he did in the interrogation.
Right.
So the amount of times it's just like, I don't know, I don't remember. Like it makes you want to hit him over the head with a shovel.
You've testified that you were told to bring the knife before you left your home, right?
Correct.
And the reason for bringing your knife on the river was to cut strings or ropes for the tubes, right?
Correct.
And that was the reason you brought it.
Correct.
But
In fact, you told the police that after your tubes were tied together, you thought you put your knife back in the car. Right?
Correct.
But in fact, it was in your pocket.
Yes.
Was it in your
Yes.
pocket the whole
see, he wanted to say, I don't know, but he knows there is, again, yards of
Seriously.
videotape of him fondling it through his pocket as he approached these kids to like hassle them with a blade. Yeah,
Hey?
he got that residual
All right,
drunk
well, we're
angry
going to
look.
get to that. Once the tubes are tied together with the rope, and you said that you thought that you put it back in your car, you don't have a reason to have the knife anymore, right? It accomplished its purpose, right?
I didn't know that at the time.
All right? Did you?
Great answer. Here's the thing, like this is another example of two things. Get the lawyer that's offered to you for free. Number one, always. Number two, don't get on the stand at your own trial if you decide to ignore step one.
Right.
Because as much as you think sucking your own dick on the stand with the help of your defense attorney for over 3 hours roughly will help, that goodwill will just be flushed down the toilet in the first 15 minutes the prosecutor cross-examination.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can get out unscathed. Like, you can butter a piece of bread as much as you want. Butter's 3 feet high. When the prosecutor steps up and asks a single question, is that bread? And you go, oh no, it's actually dog shit. All the butter in the world doesn't make a difference.
Yes,
Right?
his tubes are tied, Ryan.
He's got his tubes tied. He had brought the knife to untie the tubes that he was tying for the... Like, what the fuck?
Did you tell the police that you didn't think you were going to need it, and that's why you thought you put it in the car?
I may have.
All right.
I may have. I don't remember. Blah.
Blah.
Here's the count.
Were you present when Steve Kaufman, who owns River's Edge, testified first day of the trial?
Yes.
And you
Sure,
heard him
every
say
day.
that they sell pre-cut cords for $1, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And then, did you see in the picture, when you got on the river, you were wearing that long-sleeve camo shirt, right? Mm-hmm. A hat and
Yeah.
sunglasses?
It's on the picture.
Correct.
There it is. Right out of my old
Ariel's
scrapbook.
phone was in one of those cases, right?
Yeah, right, Bricks? $1 for string? Because it's just like the shit that, barely thicker than sewing thread that they're like cutting 3 foot off of and charging you $1 for. That's like a zillion % markup.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
All right. And is it your understanding that those cases are float cases?
That's what I was told.
All right. And you told Lieutenant Hart that it was in a float case, right?
Correct.
Lies upon
Once
lies.
the phone
float?
disappeared, there was conversation amongst the folks in your group about whether it was even worth it to go look for it, right?
That's what I learned.
And in fact, you were told
I was in the group. I came with them. We were talking and drinking together, but I wasn't listening to them.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they were there and their mouths are moving, but it was like Charlie Brown up in that piece. I don't remember a single thing my friends were telling me. All I knew is I was dead set on finding a phone that wasn't mine, even though no one gave a shit, and they were even questioning whether it was even worth just like looking down through the clear water.
No. It's just a flip phone. It's not worth
I'll
it.
go hassle those kids. That's the thinking that Nicolae had.
He needs to play
Old.
poker.
that they didn't care about the lost phone because they had insurance to cover it, right?
That's what I learned here, but I don't remember that as a conversation.
Nobody asked you to go look for the phone, right?
Correct.
You don't remember if no one asked you? That's the thing with these fuckers that go, I don't know, I don't remember. Because in as little as that, a breath, you can go, well, didn't they say they had insurance? Like, this would have been a major thing. If you've ever been around someone who lost a phone, it's all they can talk about because, like, our lives are tied up in those things. So to go in one breath to be like, no, if there was a conversation, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're totally just checked out. Durr. So, did anybody ask you to look for the phone? No. That's not something you don't not remember, sir. Like, and that it feels like, oh, look at that.
Cool.
We all float down here, Nicolae. We all float. Right? And that's the thing. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
Right.
he just decided that he wanted to, like, but again, like, he'll get into it. In the video, he's not even, like, he's never mentions the phone. He's talking about his goggles. The phone was just a machination that he had occur to him later.
Well, he needed his goggles to look for the phone.
Yeah, like, and that's he remembered the phone way after the fact, like after his interrogation, or not after interrogation, after the 4 hours between his arrest and interrogation. He remembered it then, but like no one on the scene and all that good shit.
You chose to do that on your own.
I volunteered.
And in fact,
You
members
remembers.
of your group
You volunteered.
were a little annoyed that you were stopping again so quickly after having been at the hideaway where you had stopped for lunch.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Did you hear anybody in your group say, why are we stopping again?
I didn't stop the group.
It's not the answer to the
That-
question. Did you hear XYZ? I didn't stop anything. Oh, okay. What about hearing? You got that?
The group stopped when you decided to go off on your own to look for this phone, right?
Speculation.
Overruled.
Right?
Overruled.
No.
They already stopped. I got
He looks more and more like the more like I had watched this a few times already, but the more like I watch him like try to dip into these exaggerated facial expressions that obviously are natural to him, he looks more and more like an old Jeff Dunham puppet.
I got off the tube to look for I didn't stop them.
In any event, you're the one who insisted
Anyway.
on looking for it. Nobody asked you to do that, right?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
It was called Maxi Pad. Says my-
And when you left to go look for the phone, you had your goggles and your snorkel, right? You knew that the phone was in a float bag, at least that's what you told police afterwards, right? Is that a yes?
Yes.
So the bag
That's amazing. He wasn't even able to remember them selling it or if any of their phones were in them.
Nope.
But now it's like, bam, thunderstruck by a sliver of fact that, why, I can't, guys, just look at this. It didn't start like with a bunch of intelligence because like this wasn't even like that case where the guy kills his best friend over like a $400 food stamp deficit or whatever. Like this was simply strangers like crossing paths and neither of them knowing the danger level of the other. That's why I don't like get in anybody's face. I don't do anything like that because they may look unassuming. The person you want to hassle may look like nothing, but you know, a knife will pretty much do its job. Like if they have a firearm on them or they're just spooked easily and they have something to take you down. Like at what, like, you know, in a perfect situation, you walk away from that, like abusing a random person of the public so you can make your nuts feel better.
Yeah.
At worst, you end up like with your body floating down a river.
He's such a likable guy.
Yeah, it's, oh my God, it's
the
frustrating.
bag, the phone, and the float bag would have been
Bag.
floating, right?
We're in Wisconsin.
Supposedly,
All right, and so you wouldn't need a snorkel and goggles to find a phone floating on top of the water. right?
Allegedly.
I wasn't sure if it was actually floating or not. Never tested it.
All right, well, you would agree that a phone has some weight to it,
Yes.
and if it wasn't a float bag, it would sink to the bottom, right?
Yes.
Where it was dropped.
Correct. Well, or remember, it's a river. So
Now, remember, it is a river.
Oh.
The Apple River is a river. It's
Thank
150
you.
feet wide, the point we are at now. There are kids across the way that I needed to murder because, and again, what phone? I don't even remember. Read
could have flown down.
The river has current, right?
Right. Could
If
have
I can
flown.
approach, I'm going to draw something here.
Yes.
Now, you remember when you met with Lieutenant Hart, you drew a diagram of the river.
I get why this cameraman doesn't like turn to look at the videos because they are gruesome, like it's a knife attack. But like, why not turn it just a little bit to look at the evidence? Sometimes, you son of a bitch.
All right, and this is your group up here at the
He's a defendant and an expert. I remember there was a river, Michael.
sandbar, right? Mm-hmm. This is the boys group down here. And I'll put initials IS for Isaac Schumann, right?
Correct.
This is the diagram that you wrote, drew for Lieutenant Hart.
This is a game changer.
The phone was lost over here, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of looking downstream for it, where the current was going, you went this way, across the current, to look for the phone.
Forded the
You
river.
made contact with Isaac Schumann's group on the other side of the river.
Cocked your wagon and you headed toward Oregon.
But that's not where I started looking for it, straight across the river.
That's where you ended up making contact with
I
him.
ended up there, but I didn't start there.
All right. The phone would not have floated across the current, right?
Right. Hello.
Well,
Good
I
answer.
don't know where he lost it. That's where we pulled over. He could have lost it minutes before we even anchored.
So when you testified a minute ago that the phone was lost, where your group was labeled M, now you're changing that story?
In that vicinity.
Objection.
Sustained.
Again, members of the jury, what the attorneys say is not evidence. Rely on the witness's testimony. Next question, please.
In any event, it's your testimony that you had reason to go over to the south side of the river where Isaac Schumann's group was,
What?
to look for a phone. That's your story?
Buffering.
I had reason to search in that area. I didn't know where that phone.
The heavy breathing. I mean, just like he must have a lav mic on him because when he calls up video, like he'll have to like give the timestamp to the cord. But as like his little PA or whatever is looking, he's like, oh, what is that timestamp? It's like 1:39 too. Your Honor.
Fell in the water. I don't think even Ariel knew where
The
he
Little
lost
Mermaid?
it. We didn't drop the phone when we anchored. He dropped the phone before we got there.
Fair to say that at that point in the river is 150 feet wide?
Huh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Isaac
Wide as
Schumann's
hell.
group was on the south side of the river.
Correct.
Your group's on the north side of the river.
100 feet.
Rather than searching the north side, you went to the south side of the river. Is that fair to say?
I already looked in that area.
That's not what I'm asking. You went over to the south side of the river, right?
Objection, asked and answered.
Overruled.
He didn't ask and answer. He asked and answered something else.
Your Honor, badgering the
You did, right?
sustained.
What was that question again?
You went over to the south side of the river to supposedly look for this phone, right?
I ended up there at that point, yes.
And you chose to go over there and look for it, where these boys were.
Asked and answered.
Overruled.
Oh, shit.
You can answer the question.
Oh,
Oh.
You chose to go
Where am
over
I?
to where these boys were to supposedly look for this phone, right?
Like I kind of identify with the defense attorney at this point. Like, yeah, like he's established. Yes, the
Yeah.
circuitous method he chose was looking around where they were and then going 150 feet in the opposite direction, defying all logic and physics.
Across
we
the-
get it. Like, who is the double-digit IQ member of the jury that he has to impress this upon? God.
chose to look in that area, yes.
There was other areas of the river where these boys weren't located that you could have searched
That's
until
true.
they floated past.
No.
That was quite
Right.
the eye look.
A million other spots.
Sure, but you chose to go to that spot.
I didn't even notice those boys there at the time when I was searching.
Yeah, we usually like a dozen rowdy, like late teen agers with their girls.
They're so quiet.
Yeah, they just float right by. They're like leaves on the river. Like, have you ever guys known a teenage boy? Pretty fucking quiet. Don't measure the ghoul.
You were present in court when Eric Williams, who was a member of your group, testified, right?
Right?
You heard him testify?
Yes.
And you were here when he testified that he had some concerns about you going over to snorkel by this group, Isaac's group?
I heard him.
And one of his concerns is that he thought that they would think you were a predator, right?
Well, yeah, and isn't that weird? Because one of the weird things that happen, you guys, is like maybe his friend is just psychic. Maybe he's like an M. Night Shyamalan style character who can just tell what's gonna go on before it does. But yeah, when a guy in his late 50s, early 60s, I don't know his exact age, tells his friends, "Hey, I'm gonna go snorkel next to those teenage hot bodies. Smell you later." And the dude's like, "Yo, man, that seems a little sketchy." And then they all turn on you and do exactly that.
Right.
I don't know if like, give it a shot, Nicolae. We'll see how it goes.
Irrelevant.
It's just
Right, Rachel. It's like it's like Michael Dunn and Michael Dredgka in the same body. Because like Michael Dunn had those goddamn loud teenagers in their red SUV that he just had to silence, and Michael Dredgka was like sticking his fucking nose in business that wasn't his because it was his store and all this other stuff. Got a shove, and a dude paid with his life.
Yep.
Yeah, the two Michaels have joined forces into one Nicolae. Because, like, number one, just mind your own fucking business. Number two, kids don't fuck with them. There's nothing you can gain by, like, and even if you walk away the victor in a interaction with teenagers, you got one over on some teenagers.
Woohoo.
Join an HOA if you're that desperate for a minuscule amount of power, you lazy
Sustained.
fuck. Sustain. Yeah, you're gonna look like that. Don't go over there.
He testified that you didn't have your knife in your pocket the whole time, right?
Correct.
When you decided to do a snorkel over by Isaac Schumann's group, you had the knife in your pocket.
Yes.
Did you go back to your group and get it?
No, I had the knife.
Hold
on.
had the knife the whole goddamn time.
Yeah.
Because when you're tubing down the river, it's not like you bring a steamer trunk for your laundry and like all your expendables, your pots and pans, your dried corn, your beans and rice and all that other shit. And you just drop your knife off. You basically wear everything that you own on the river, the entire length of the river. So it's not like he rolled over on his tube and opened the chest of drawers with his fucking magnificent Bud K collection he got mail order and slip it back into its holster. No! It was always in his pocket. He was fondling it again like a kid grabbing his joint, standing in the corner of a dance.
I
Brick says,
testified I
as a
didn't-
former teenage boy, we probably would have given him shit too. We were young and stupid.
Right. And when, like, 1, 2, 3, maybe you aren't getting hassled depending on the aggressiveness of the kids. But when you get like half a dozen or more and you're just like being a nuisance and hassling them, like every pair of balls in that group is going to bolster the confidence of the entirety by 1,000%.
Especially if there's girls with them, they want to get their balls bigger.
Like, it would be like a perfect scenario. Like if I were in high school and like with my friends and our girlfriends and some harmless, what we think is harmless dude comes over to just like hassle us, then yeah, we'd be like, pound sand, you old fuck. But like, I probably wouldn't because I don't like, I'm aware of wild cards and I don't like the idea of testing those waters.
Right.
Did not have the knife in my pocket the whole time.
Where
When we
was it?
pulled over there, I fixed my shoes. Then I left it in my pocket.
All right, but some
I don't get the whole fixed my shoes thing. Like, was it in your shoes? Like, where would you put the knife?
He had to fix his shoes maybe with his knife.
But again,
by
so
doing
he
something.
took his knife out of his pocket. So he's like, this is a battle of semantics. It was not in my pocket the whole time. It was in my pocket 90% of the time. 5 seconds of it was spent
being used.
fixing my shoes somehow with a knife. Yeah, when my shoe breaks, I go, where is my pocket knife? And then I just slip back in my pocket. So yeah, case dismissed, I guess.
Oh, so when you get ready to snorkel,
Yeah, don't pick on people. Don't fuck with people. Like, don't be one of those TikTok fucks who just do pranks and shit. Just leave people alone and live your life. God damn.
Yes,
you've taken off your shirt, right?
yes,
Your hat,
yes.
your sunglasses.
Pants around your
right?
ankles.
You left the knife in your pocket.
I forgot it in my pocket.
Well, on the video, we can see you touching your knife,
Oh,
right? You
right?
knew it was in your pocket.
Well, when you walk, it starts, but
It has weight,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So
And you had to walk 150 feet across a river. So you then knew for Prolonged, like, unless you're the Flash.
You can't forget it's there because it's got weight.
It's a
Correct?
At
physical
some point, I
object
forgot
that
I
takes
had
up
it in
space
my
in the known
pocket.
universe.
You
when
weren't
you
gonna,
walk.
you were not going to need your knife to snorkel and look for a lost phone.
Correct.
Overruled.
Overall,
You weren't going to need your knife for that task that you set out to do, right?
I wouldn't even need anything.
But you brought it with you anyhow.
It happened to be in my pocket, yes.
just so happened. Is there any reason?
He was holding it so it didn't fall in the river.
Yeah, brilliant.
When she got over to where Isaac Schumann's group was, they made it readily apparent they did not want you over by them, correct?
That's not,
They invited me over for beers, right? I'm a 62-year-old man, and they're ages 17 to 21. Of course they wanted to hang out with me. At that point, a bloated weirdo who just got accused of being a predator by one of his best friends. They said, come on over, Nicolae.
not true.
They didn't call you names?
Yes, but they asked me what I was looking for.
Hey,
And
predator, but that's the thing. They said, what are you looking for? Little girls? Like, it's on the video. Like, this man looking for little girls. So, yeah, I guess they did ask what he was looking for, but the answer was also built into the question.
Yeah.
I thought they were polite people. I said, I'm looking for my lost phone.
They did not want you by them, and they told you that, right?
I don't remember.
At some point, yes.
And that's the short video. You turn around and you're walking away, right?
Yes.
Like, more annoying, I think. Maybe it's like a sandwich that, like, you can't have one without the other. When, like, your base strategy, like, again, you're fighting for your life up here because you decided to take the stand. If your strategy is, I don't remember, it's like, I don't know, if getting to the answer of the I don't remember is like a saltine cracker, it's like having, like, that silence that lives in between the question and the answer that stretches on for an eternity is like trying to drink a glass of salt water. Like, it's a simple question every time. And then you know you're going to get some obfuscative either question that is being asked back or not in reference to literally anything that just said. And so when he's standing there and his eyes are shooting left and right like a cat wall clock, it's like in preparation of ripping off a Band-Aid, you throw a match on it.
But
He was
then
cornered and had nowhere to run
Juan
or swim.
Cockfield
Yeah, stand your ground. The Castle Apple River doctrine.
calls you a raper, right?
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
And then you turn around.
I thought they were polite people. That's, a compliment where I come from. Wisconsin.
And you were angry.
I was not angry.
You were not angry that someone called you a raper,
No.
all right? You look at Juan, who's filming you, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, your testimony is that even though many people on the river have these phones and these float cases, you decided that was the phone and you needed to run up and check.
Objection argumentative.
Sustained.
Your testimony earlier was you thought he had the phone, right?
I thought he had the phone, yes.
Right.
I wanted to investigate.
And you,
I'm a police officer.
Pulled out my deer stalker, which I kept in my pocket. That I remembered I had. I wasn't going to leave that in the car. And whatever you're going to cut twine, that may or may not happen. I knew I was going to solve a mystery, so I had the deer stalker.
instead of walking up and saying, hey, is that the phone I'm looking for, you ran up on these boys, didn't you?
The video shows it.
I ran up and stumbled, and then I fell right by
Running in the
their-
water is
yes.
hard.
That's my next
That's the thing. Like, now the story to you and to me and to, like, the uninitiated, I'm going to play along, is like, the attorney is like, okay, so they were calling you a raper and they were saying, get the fuck out of here, GTFO, you old weirdo. And your story is they were totally cool and pleasant, and you're like, hey, do I have a phone? And now it's like, well, I ran up to them and stumbled. So when were you guys exchanging pleasantries? It was before you broke into a run, stumbled and fell. It had to have been like when you were far enough away not to be heard or seen. Because as soon as you enter their sphere of influence, they're like, this guy is a freaking weirdo who just, wants to get the guy's phone out of his hand.
question. You're claiming now that you stumbled.
Yes.
You've never said that before today. ever.
I can just
To
picture
anybody,
this
any law enforcement or anybody else.
65-year-old man, like, running in water. Like, he must have looked ridiculous. And,
Well,
like,
and
I
it
could
was
just
like-
picture him holding the knife over his head like they do in, like, the movies
Well,
with
no,
guns.
it's like a pocket knife. But it was like, that's the thing. It's like 15 inches of water.
Oh, so it's, like,
literally,
super
you
awkward.
could, like, if this were the Oregon Trail, you would just cross it. Like, no assembly necessary. Just, like, keep going. That's where we are.
Right?
But I have seen the videos now.
Well, we're going to take a look at the video.
Huh?
Objection?
And since you reviewed the video, you know that before you ran up on them, you were touching your knife in your pocket to make sure it was there, right?
I don't remember that.
All right, well, let's take a look.
We'll watch it.
God damn. Like, I don't get up on the stand, guys, because it's not like, because that's the only thing you can say. Because if you say, no, I wasn't, then they'll get you for perjury, which is like almost impossible to prove unless there's a ton of video, which there's a ton of video. So I don't know. I want to get into the mind of one of these people, like a Brophy or a Nicolae here, or anybody, is a Shonda, anyone who just goes, I don't know, I don't remember. Because, like, the copium pipe they're hitting must be 100% pure. Because, well, probably not. Because if you believe your own bullshit, then you wouldn't feel like it was a lie. We wouldn't have these vast swaths of silence in eternity.
Right.
Because if, like, people who blow smoke up their own ass enough that they're, like, getting high on their own supply and they believe their own delusions, regardless of the reality of the situation, it flies out of them so fast.
At least with, like, Shonda with this stuff, you know, she would say, like, if that's what it says, that's what the video shows, she's, like, admitting the fact that if it's there, it's true, even if she doesn't remember.
Right. And I don't want to say I respect that more as a viewer, because it is a little more, I don't know, maybe it's cathartic for Shonda to go, if that's what it says, then yes, than to just the I don't remember. Because it's still, at the very least, you're getting a yes, but it's begrudging. You have to put like a whole freight train of cargo in front of that yes.
Whisper.
Thank you, Steven.
You want to go out to dinner later, Steven?
You think someone threw a shoe at some point and like scuffed the wall up back there? Stop. Back up one.
Oh, yeah, because she was a lawyer. Wasn't she a lawyer?
Uh-huh. Well, she was like a paralegal or something.
Yeah.
That's you with your right hand touching your pocket where your knife was clipped in, right?
There's the judge.
It appears so.
Looks like Judge Harold T. Stone. Yeah, there he is. He was fucking grabbing it 90% of the walk over.
What is he on?
Wow, he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, he was in prison for a jail waiting for this for a while, and he got. That's the thing. Like Sarah Boone was sucked out, so she filled out. He was too full, so he got sucked out.
What's he putting in his mouth?
It's just a snorkel.
So you're claiming today that where you reach down and grab at these boys' legs where their tubes are, that was a stumble. Is that your story?
Oh, look at that guy's hair.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
I know I hit a stone, yes. But I grabbed onto their inner tubes.
How did you remember hitting that stone and grabbing the inner tubes? Because again, the rest of the day was just a blur.
I don't remember.
And you know where you grabbed onto their inner tube is where two of these boys had their legs draped over their inner tubes, right?
I see that.
And you made contact with
I
their
don't remember,
legs,
but I
didn't you?
see it.
I don't remember that.
Did you see it on the video?
I see it
True,
on the
Rachel.
video. I don't remember actually making contact.
And as soon as you did that, these boys jumped out of their tubes to get away from you, right? You remember
That's
that?
what the video shows.
Yeah.
And you held onto their tubes so that their tubes couldn't float away.
You were
For how
being
long?
nice.
Well, I'm asking you. You did.
Yeah,
For how long, sir?
it looks like for a brief 1 second.
And you were searching through their tubes.
Or what?
You walked around their tubes.
What?
Rather than letting their tubes go so they could get back in their tubes and be on their way, you walked around their tubes.
So after my goggles dropped in the water, I went around their tubes.
Ergo,
Tubes.
quid pro quo habeas corpus. I drop my goggles, and then the end.
To go to the other side and look for my goggles.
Let's talk about your goggles for a second, because you told the police the specific.
Yeah, so Rachel, someone did marry this guy, and his wife actually takes the stand too. I haven't watched it because I don't care. Like, the ancillary characters lose interest for me very quickly. But like, what?
Like for or against him?
That's the thing. You can't. I don't think you could be a force of good in this situation.
Right.
Because all it takes is this prosecutor to be like, okay, so you were in the group of people. Did you see him reacting to the conversations he is now denying?
Yeah.
Specifically Lieutenant Hart, that these boys knocked your goggles off your face and that you were looking for your goggles at that point, right?
I don't remember my interview with her, correct?
But you heard yourself say it in the interview.
Yes, yes.
And in fact, that nothing of the sort ever happened, right?
So the interview with Brandy Hart was not accurate.
What you said
It's an interrogation.
at the time is what you wanted the police to believe happened, right?
That's what I remembered at the
Okay.
time.
And from the video, you can see that you actually put your goggles in your mouth so you would have two free hands to be able to grab onto these boys' tubes, right?
Yes.
So you were preparing for your stumble before it actually even happened?
It's a precog.
I'm running in water. It's bound to
Classic
happen.
Minority Report sci-fi bullshit. His friend knew what was going on, and he did too. They're both psychic friends.
I wasn't prepared for anything.
These boys were calling you names to go away, right? After you grabbed onto their tubes,
I
touched
guess.
their legs,
I don't remember any of that stuff.
all right? You don't remember them calling you,
clairvoyant.
asking you what you
Of
were.
sorts, yeah. Like he's about as clairvoyant as like Deanna Troi is empathic. Like if someone's not wearing their shit on their sleeve, she's like totally befuddled.
doing?
Watching the videos, yes, but unnatural remembering, no.
Naturally,
Do you remember as you're running up, they're saying, whoa, 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 what's he doing?
not naturally.
I don't remember that.
All right, but you've seen it on the video.
Yes.
And then once you've made contact with two of these boys' legs and grabbed onto their tubes, they started calling you a pedophile, right?
I don't remember when they started calling me.
Do you remember?
I don't remember when.
They
but I
started.
remember they did. That's the important part, right?
Yeah.
I remember they did do that. I don't remember when. Am I
Then
a
I
little
stabbed
hazy?
him.
So like that's the thing. He remembers being near his friends and then being near some kids, and they were calling him a pedophile. He just doesn't remember when.
They called him the R word. They turned around and came back.
What a wonderful story to craft, especially when you don't have to get on the stand.
Remember them calling you a pedophile at all? Or do you just know that from watching the video?
Correct.
The second one.
The second one.
You testified that they were calling you names earlier, right?
Right.
They wouldn't let
And
you play
that
with their reindeer
upset
games.
you.
Cool.
You guys, especially Lady-O,
Have a
have
future.
a future in ASMR.
It did not upset me.
Okay, we've talked, your attorneys talked about your comfort scale and your fear scale. Let's talk about your anger scale, okay? At the time you were called a raper, what was your anger scale at?
Maybe one.
1 out of
Maybe one. Yeah. Like when a bunch of kids in public start accusing me of crimes too hideous to speak of in polite society. Yeah, 1, 1.5, and then it's gone.
10?
Yeah.
And that was enough to get you to run up on these boys, grab onto them, stop their tubes at a 1. Is that what you're saying?
Objection, argument, that's not.
Objection, the scale may be biased. Is it a 1 to 10? Is it a 1 to 5? I'd like clarification.
Sustained.
Sustained.
You don't like being humiliated, right?
Nobody does.
Your attorney has said that
Good
these
point.
boys
Yeah.
were humiliating you.
Objection as to his making.
Sustained on the form.
You're claiming that you were being taunted?
Objection, he did not testify to that.
Sustained.
Your Honor.
Form.
Come on.
Like, here's the thing. I may just be stupid. If I were an attorney, here's what I would do. I'll play all the video. I say, any response? And that's it. That's all I would do. I say,
The
what do you
state
say
rests.
about that? And I would look to the jury and I go,
You had testified earlier that your shoes, there was problems with your shoes, but as
Oh,
you can
maybe
see
his
from the
shoe
portion of
fell
the
off.
video we played so far, those shoes didn't prevent you from running up on these boys, right?
Nope, see, didn't fall off. Didn't prevent him. They did not hinder him in any way.
They did. There was, if I had better shoes, you know, I could walk better. But
You know, teach a man to shoe and he can walk for a day, but teach a man how to be a shoe and he'll walk for a lifetime.
I could still walk.
If you had better shoes, you would have been able to run up on them faster.
No, I mean, I
Yes.
could walk
A
better.
couple of Air Jordans, I would have juked those assholes.
I wouldn't stumble. I wouldn't have a hard time walking.
You need some water shoes.
Probably wouldn't even have bit down on my snorkel like a corn cob.
Arr.
All right, we're going to watch the video again, and I want you to, if you can, point out for
If you can.
everybody where you stumbled.
Cameraman? Anything?
Yeah, it hardly ever. Like, I don't know. Like, this, I get why the cameraman is
What is
kind of
he
lazy
on?
because it's all the way across the courtroom, but like, hello. Like, look.
Hey, whoa! Get away!
Did you watch
Rivergate.
it?
Hashtag
Yes.
Rivergate
So
shoe.
the stumble, is that something you remember or something that you think you see in the video?
Rivergate.
Something I remembered.
After you grabbed onto their tubes, stopped them, walked around their tubes, you took a few steps downriver and stood in the path they were floating in, right?
Objection as to form. Multiple.
Overruled. Do you understand the question, Mr. Mew?
Could you say it again?
After you left their tubes,
That whole objection as to form thing, I think I've kind of figured it out. And if you've already done that, congratulations, you're smarter than me. But I feel like every time he asks something like that, it could be a compound question, but like the first two or three are, you know, rhetorical. But like, again, you're this guy's defense attorney, right? What's your strategy? You get video for miles, witnesses for days, and you go, that's a weird question. Objection? Yeah.
that first time, you took a few steps downstream and stood in their path where they would need to float, where they were floating, right?
They all floated down there.
For a few seconds, yes.
You didn't walk off to the south shore, which was close at that point, right?
I thought I walked far away from them, that they, I mean, I didn't even watch them anymore at that point, so I don't know where they were you know, at that point in time.
Like,
Oh, what?
again, you saw the river, right? He was standing and it was like mid-shin. It's not like the Colorado River. Like, this isn't the Whitewater Rapids. They weren't sucked from his sight.
How could those tubes float down that river? Like, it's so low.
Well, you know, you can float in like a foot of water. It's just it's like the Salt River here. Sometimes they get low and you can scrape your ass on the ground. You don't need a whole lot.
But I was still looking for my goggles now.
Are you denying that you stood right in the path of their tubes?
You don't have Riz.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
At that moment in time, yes.
Now, when you ran up on these boys and grabbed onto their
Again, I haven't made this reference in a while, but this guy's like fucking Lifehouse, hanging by a fucking moment. At that moment, at that moment in time, it was a moment and a half. I'll tell you that, mother.
tubes and made contact with their legs, you weren't saying anything at that point, right? You didn't say anything like, hey, I think that's my phone or Ariel's phone?
Yeah,
I
why
don't
would
remember saying anything.
You've seen the video.
Right.
You just ran up
You're
and
right.
grabbed
He
him.
has no business being in a river.
I don't know. He does look like something that one guy from River Monsters would pull out of some like Asian jungle somewhere. Like he was looking for a tiger fish and he pulled out Nicolae and he looks like just one of those giant Chinese salamanders flopping around in the boat.
It appears that.
Was saying nothing. We can go up to the screen. We're going to look at some more frames here.
Oh, can't we?
God, I hope so.
We're starting 20-second mark, I believe.
His hairline is so weird.
You stood in front of their tubes, right? This is at the 23-second mark.
For a brief moment.
All right.
Hang it by a moment, classic live house. This again, like, not to belabor this point too, because I feel like the prosecuting attorney is doing enough. Once we've established like where we are all in these moments in time, it like by the ninth lap of this track, I go, oh my god, we're not even past like the 20-second clip. Like, okay, so you were here and then you were here, right? Yeah. Here, there. Do you remember that? You saw it on the video. Do you remember it? Ah.
Do you remember touching that tube?
Keep going.
The Chernobyl coolant ponds fish. Yeah.
Stop.
You think he lives near the elephant foot?
At that point, you had the entire river open to move in any direction, right?
Right.
What up?
You chose to just walk a few steps directly downstream from where their tubes were, right?
Correct.
Why?
The boys were yelling at you at this point, right? You remember that?
Yep.
They were making a
Totally, I
commotion,
remember that.
Their fault.
right?
They were being mean to me. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, me filleting that kid like a fish. I was like, huh? Where am I?
They were loud,
They
and
were
that
partying.
attracted the attention of the folks in the Carlson group, right? You've testified that Maddie Cohen walked over, right?
Yep.
You walked towards her,
Yes.
and the water level at the spot that you had contact with Maddie was about ankle deep from the video.
Even lower.
From the video, yes.
And you told Lieutenant Hart you were standing in really shallow water, right?
Yep.
Maddie told you to leave the area, right?
She didn't say it that way, but yes.
She said, get the fuck out. She said, bead cheeks and pound sand, you weird European fuck. But I mean, yeah, so many words. So now you've got the group of kids that you're hassling tell you to beat cheeks. And now someone from an unrelated group coming in over and telling you the same thing. And this is just the icing on the predator cake when your friend in your group said, don't go over there. You're going to look like a predator.
Yes.
She said, go,
yeah,
go,
exactly.
go.
And?
She swore at you too, but she was telling you to go, right?
Yeah.
She said the F word, Your Honor.
So I had to stab her.
Do you know how many people do drugs in my neighborhood? Why aren't you arresting any of them?
Hey,
Didn't go.
Lion Kim.
I was trying to communicate with her what I was doing in the river.
You didn't leave, right?
No, not down the river.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Legal basis that he
Overruled.
Overruled.
It's relevant.
You
Keep
did
talking.
not leave, right?
I
At the
didn't
time
go
that
in
she
that
came up
direction. No.
When she came up and said, go, 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 you chose to stay, right?
I wanted to talk.
You didn't like that she was yelling at you, right?
Do you have a
I
problem with
only had
women,
like 2 or
Nicolae?
3 seconds of
I
contact.
wanted to talk with this now rapidly gaining, like the mob against you specifically is rapidly gaining members in Steam, and you're like, no, I will not give up this soapbox.
Direct verbal or
Finally,
whatever.
Matt, break out those RCs.
And you clearly didn't like she was swearing at you, right?
Right.
And what you told her was not that you were looking for a phone, but that these boys took your goggles, right?
I don't remember what I told
Right.
her.
If it's on the video, did you say it?
If it's on the video, yeah.
You never mentioned you were looking for a phone.
You've been cooling Zapparel's down.
I don't
A
remember
little wink from Nicolae there.
my conversation with
And
her.
in fact, after you told her that they took your goggles, you never said another word, right?
Yeah. That's what the
After
video
that?
shows.
Right.
Of course I did.
I'm talking now, right?
Talking about your anger scale, at the point where Maddie Cohen was yelling at you and pointing at you and swearing at you, where was your anger scale?
Scale of 1 to 10.
1?
Still a 1. They got a group of kids
Wow.
and now a group of adults, presumably, yelling at you to GTFO. And you're like, eh.
Your Honor, this guy's a saint. I say mistrial.
Your Honor, I think this guy's scale is broken.
And even with your anger scale being only 1, you started touching, fidgeting with the knife in your pocket, right?
I don't remember that.
Let's take a look at the video.
Here we go.
Like, this is like if Dustin McFetrich actually made John Dudinsky read the chat every time. He's like, do I have to read the chat again? Dustin, do I have to read the chat? You say, where do you want my sperm first? Do I have to go back to the chat? And like every time he says, do I have to go back to the chat? Dustin says, yes. Let's go back to the video. It's 20 seconds long. We've watched it 8 times already. One more won't hurt.
Brick, our son was very upset that our zoo did not have a kiwi.
Yeah, that's, yeah. But yeah, we're so far away from both.
We got wallabies.
It's a dime a dozen. No dingoes, no nothing. Like, he's like, this is what happens in every cross-examination in court. Like, they start with their back straight and they just sort of osteoporosis into a little puddle of dust.
We're ready. It's timestamp 135. That's you touching your knife in your pocket, right?
Correct.
And at this point, you've got your back to the 2 girls who were yelling at you.
Twerking.
Right?
It's possible.
Oh, Brick, are kiwis like great whites where you just can't keep them in captivity? They're just too powerful and they just die?
So even though you were fearing for your life, you turned your...
Objection. That's not what he said at that time.
Overruled. Let's get the question out.
You turned your...
Yeah, get the question out, dipshit, before you... Objection! I'm annoying.
your back on these folks, right?
Where am I in that location as reference to the other people?
You're still in front of them.
Yeah, you
like
haven't
you've
gone
never
far.
left their sight. It's like your knife, even though it mysteriously wasn't in your pocket while you were fixing your shoe and the rest of the time it was there, you're still exactly where you are, getting yelled at by a huge group of people to fuck off. That's where we are at this moment.
Oh, kiwis are terrible
I get to ask the
breeders.
questions
It's
at
the
this
tiny
point,
arms.
okay?
All right.
Your back,
Not enough perverts in that species.
the 135 mark that we just watched, you've turned your back on these folks, right?
Okay.
Is that true?
It's called this a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like if you were watching this like in a waiting room, like in a doctor's office somewhere with no sound, you'd go like, oh, another dictator got caught.
You're touching your knife, but you got your back to them, right?
I see that in a picture.
Keep going. Keep going. Roll it.
And so at that point,
I think he was trying to scare him with the knife. We need some more. It could be like 1 minute and 47 seconds in. Give me the
you wouldn't have turned your back on these folks if you had fear of them, right?
Objection mischaracterizes his testimony.
Overruled. Overruled. You can answer the question. Yes.
That's what happens when they approach the desk. They go, instead of just hit mute, they hit scramble.
It's like the
This is
snow on your TV
It's a
screen.
mix between white noise and brown noise. See, you might leave a skid marker too. Court muted. No, it's not. The court is static.
Yeah, because
Lying ass bitch. You don't have a mute button? Watch this. Yeah, how did that sound? It was muted for a minute. I don't go, Classic Ace Ventura, right? Double pane soundproof glass.
wow. Passes out to pens.
Yeah, strobe mute. Yeah, why not have a mute? Why the static? And why leave it?
Everywhere has the mute.
Yeah, it's a button on literally every piece of technology that deals with sound.
Yeah, you'd think no.
Oh yeah, Bosnian war criminal trial footage, yeah.
We'll play a clip
Best
here.
Ed, next question, please.
We're going to play a clip here, Judge.
Go back.
Stop.
Steven.
Sandwich.
We're starting at 126.
Get that
Just play it.
DoorDash order in, Steven, after this video.
We can have the screen.
Oh, stop. You're ruining it.
Make sure you get me that double cheeseburger with no pickles.
Wise time. It's legal here. It's legal. What is the stenographer typing? Like people are moving around.
Stopping at 135.
Coffer here.
So in that clip, that's the point where you had waved at your friends. Right?
Hi.
I'm going to kill someone. I'm over here.
You had turned your back on the groups of people that were in the area, and you're touching your knife, right? And at that point, you called out to your friends because I think you had said, and maybe I'm wrong, that your fear scale was going up at that point. Is that not right?
I see lots of people around me, and I wanted somebody to be on my side.
Right. Your fear scale was going up, so you tried to wave your buddies over, right?
Creeping up, yeah.
And as it's creeping up, you're fidgeting with your knife.
It appears that way.
It appears that I bit off more than my dumb ass could chew, and now I was hoping for my friends to pull my ass out of the fire. Like, he's the worst type of person. Because I feel like we probably all have him, but I feel like at this point, if you're an adult, you should have been in a situation where one of your friends tried biting on more than they could chew and then roping you in on it, and you got to go like, that's on you, my dude. Like, I've had to do that a couple of times where someone will start shit with someone else, and they go, well, he's going to help me, and I go, yo, no, nah.
No.
Like you can call upon a friend if you're not the aggressor, but if you show up and like amass a crowd that now want to kick your ass, you kiss all your relationships goodbye, all of them.
At some point, and even though your fear level is creeping up at that point and you've called for help from your friends, or at least
Creeping up from a 1 to like, I don't know, are we at a 2 yet, Nicolae? Have we reached that point?
waved for help, you turned your back, right?
Yes.
Like every good hunter. When you're
At
a jet,
one
you're a jet
point-
all the way.
You turn your head and you stare at the group of 17-year-old boys, right? Do you remember doing that?
I don't remember it, but if I could see a video.
Put it into
I don't remember it, but if I see a video, I'll agree that the video exists. Fuck this strategy. And I have to feel like, because I live in reality, I have to like justify all of the objections, like all the extraneous objections that like are going to change the video. It feels to me like the defense attorney is like, I told you not to get the fuck up there. Like, I'll try. It's you know that part of 300 where like just a volley of arrows comes over and just kills everyone? Like it was like you're there standing, the arrows are coming, but you have like a buddy off to the side like throwing rocks to try and hit the arrows off course so they don't kill you. But since there's a million of them and PS you've already been dead for 2 years, seems moot.
Into context, it would have been at the point when Maddie Cohen tried to turn you away from those boys. Do you remember doing that?
Yes.
And 1 second. Right there.
Right there.
If we can get the frame up.
No, not there, Steven. Right there.
Cameraman, we're gonna make a move on this one?
We're at timestamp
Nah.
116. That's the look that you gave to those boys, right? At that time, at 116?
The prosecuting attorney does this a couple of times. He's like, he'll focus in on a still shot of his face where like he's smiling. It'll come up later. I think it's one of the funniest parts of this video where he's like, is that a smile? Are you smiling? Like you're saying you're smiling, right? And there's like objection, speculation on the face muscles or whatever.
Yes.
That's the look on your
Oh
face.
yeah, he did match his jacket with the font.
That's an angry
color.
look.
He
Not
thought
to me.
ahead.
Yep.
I was annoyed, more than frustrated, but not angry.
At the point where you looked at the boys with that expression on your face, whatever it was,
Whatever.
you
it
had the
was.
entire river in front of you open to walk to, right?
You literally had your entire life ahead of you, whatever the rest of it looked like. All you'd have to do is walk the fuck away from this situation you and only you created.
Yep.
How could you not have done that? That's the thing. This guy, again, he's like a, he needs to be on like an HOA somewhere. He needs to exert some sort of petty power over other people who basically mock and ridicule him, but he still feels a little bit good about himself.
Cool.
I'm sure you have, Travis, says Maxwell English. I'm sure you have, Travis. I'm sure you have. But that's the thing. Like, don't fuck with people. And if someone fucks with you, disengage as quickly and safely as possible. Like, there's just so many wild cards. Like, you're probably not super likely to find someone totally unhinged, but the fact that we've covered people just like this who take a normal everyday situation, no grudge, no money, no revenge, no nothing at stake except for the rest of your freedom and your natural life outside of prison, and they just piss it down their leg is fucking unbelievable. Like, I get people doing it over cigarettes or addiction or whatever, because in the moment you're inebriated or pushed to your extremes or whatever. This is like, hey, you're in a Walmart and someone is listening to music on their phone and you decide to like pull out a machete and hack them into cubes.
Right.
No established relationship. Just get the fuck out of there. Go home.
Oh, so he died?
Who?
This guy? Or
Nicolae?
is Rachel referring to somebody else? She said he had 4 years of life left before he died of liver failure. Oh, before he went. Never mind. I read it wrong.
Oh,
My
yeah,
bad. Yeah.
That's true.
Correct.
And instead, you chose to turn back around.
We've been drinking, Rachel. Sorry.
But the thing is, even if he did have those 4 years, they would have been his own.
Right.
1 kid would be alive and 3 other kids wouldn't have, like, you know, like, because if you look at, just look into this case at all, one of the kids gets up on there and lifts up his shirt and he looks like he went through some sort of horror, like he jumped on a grenade.
Yeah.
Where Maddie Cohen was, right?
I stood my ground. I basically stayed in the same location.
Right.
I didn't go
why?
towards
But-
anybody at
right.
that point.
You didn't take a step away either, did you?
No.
And at that point then, that's when Riley Madison joins her, and you've got Madison and Riley standing in front of you, right?
I suppose that's the time, yeah.
Don't
2
worry. I will
girls.
not go near rivers or teens in
Yeah.
tubes.
Seriously, if you're going to go out on the river, just here, I don't want to like dictate to you how you should and shouldn't live because you're your own people. I'm just saying in your best interest, if you do go somewhere that's high risk, like just be chill about shit, right? That's all you got to do. Don't piss people off. Don't like get into road rage incidents. Like, how much is your life worth to you? If you're willing to throw it away on something like this, probably not much, but I wish there was a lower price to just getting removed from society for the rest of your life than punching someone else's ticket.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know, I've talked about this before, like the perpetual nuisance, like where you just commit crime after crime after crime. You're in the revolving prison system because either there's no 3 strikes law or whatever, where you're just able to keep robbing from people or, you know, with violent domestic crimes or whatever. And you're not, like, you never cause anyone any permanent damage, legally speaking. But, you know, we just have to wait until you punch someone's ticket for them, and then you go, okay, well, now then at the Monday morning quarterback, we go, why can't we learn? I do this with my son. I say, you're working on being a perpetual nuisance, and once you get to that, any crime is executable by the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Matt says, my dad went to go on a bar crawl tubing down Mekong River in Laos when he was 66. He loved it, but I'll never go to that kind of thing. No.
If that's your thing, fine, great. I'm happy for your dad. It probably was very fun. Like, don't get me wrong, sitting on a tube in a river can be enjoyable because it's something where you can't rush through it and you're in nature.
I'd rather be in like a chlorinated river, like a lazy river.
You do you. Just protect yourself, for God's sake.
And these 2 girls standing in front of you touched your shoulders somewhat, right?
How did he get that old without killing someone?
Yes.
If this
Never
is all it
stumbled
took.
backwards or anything.
Right.
Right. There are so many cases like this where like Michael Dunn, like what was the perfect scenario that got him to shoot into a red SUV? Surely he's seen black kids in public before. Surely he's heard rap music. Why was it then he's like, now it's time for someone to die?
Yep.
Like and you know, again, here we are with Nicolae, and his grandest reason for the interaction was not his phone. He wasn't at $1,000. It was his friend's phone, which was covered by insurance. So out an afternoon.
Right, an annoying afternoon to Verizon.
It wasn't somewhat, but
Well, let's take a look at the video.
Don't call me Shirley.
We're going to start a little bit earlier than the part I wanted to start at. It's at the 135 mark again, if we can put this screen up.
What was shocking was how people thought he was in the right. There was controversy over this trial.
There's always going to be that, right? Because, like, people are, like, writing Sarah Boone proposal letters in prison. You can't account for people's taste because there are just some people who are anarchists and they want to buck everything that is established. But this wasn't like a Central Park 5, right? Like, all these, and I can see both sides. Like, boomers and other old people are probably like, oh, those young kids, like, why not just leave the man alone to his snorkeling? But, like, that's not what happened here.
Right. Rachel goes, why are there so many Maxwells
Yeah,
here?
welcome to my world.
You can take the screen down.
Oh, okay.
Starting at 134.
Don't look away from the screen if we got more video. We need to check out these dudes' haircuts. Classic Zillennial or Generation Alpha or whatever, filming in fucking portrait versus landscape.
So at that point, you're touching your
This
knife
is your
before Maddie and Riley are standing in front of you, right?
Yeah, you're fingering that thing hardcore, dude.
appears that way.
It appears. Because it is. That's why it appears that way.
That dude on the far like
Stop.
end of that table. His beard is so
You had
dark.
said
Like,
that
he's got a weird hair, everything.
Yeah, he's got a weird combo going on.
your fear level was rising.
Here we are at a 1.
You're so
This is
scared.
Nicolae Mew is a 1. Ah, he's going supernova.
You had waved to your friends, right?
Hey, friends.
That was the look on your face at the time, correct?
I'm gonna
smiling.
murder.
I'm confused.
You're smiling.
I'm confused.
You're not smiling?
That's not a smile.
Yes.
Objection.
Let's move on, please.
Moving on.
Can you direct your attention to this emotion chart? What is the kid in the upper right-hand corner experiencing? Did you call that a smile? Is that you?
Should you turn the screen off?
Come on, Steven.
Can we get the screen back?
I don't know why they keep shutting that off, Your Honor. I apologize.
God damn it, Steven.
Oh, that's like Stanley Tucci's on their law team right there. The Tucci is loose. Yeah. Imagine being that dude, that potato fucking sack-shaped motherfucker, rolling up on these 6 swole bros. Are you fucking kidding? Stay the fuck away, Nicolae.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, go away.
Stop.
Stop
All
with the
right,
breast.
so
Thank you.
you had been fidgeting with your knife multiple times. You've got Riley Madison in front of you. I believe her testimony was she's a 115-pound woman. You got Maddie Cohen on your other side. This is when you choose to pull out your knife, right?
Objection as to form.
They're broed up.
Overruled. Do you understand the question?
What does her weight have to do with me?
Sir, you don't get to ask the
I'm
questions
sorry.
at this point.
Oh,
Her
sorry.
weight has nothing to do intrinsically with the question. What is supposed to imply to the jury, what they are hoping they will infer by this implication, is that they're seeing this giant walrus of a man weighing 3 bills being intimidated by someone a third of that weight, and the walrus has the knife.
Right.
It's not the sea otter, it's the walrus that has the knife.
You pulled out your knife at this point with these 2 girls standing in front of you, right?
Another lesson, guys. Watch when people are standing around, watch people's hands. There were 8 people who did not either notice or didn't care that this man pulled out and then extracted a blade.
Right.
I always look at people if they're acting sketchy, and mostly at their hands. Because if they reach for something, their eyes aren't going to be doing it. It's going to be their hands.
Yes.
And you held it down by your belt line, right?
Yes.
And you opened it up, right?
I guess.
Yes.
And this is
Yes.
before you had been punched or anything like that. You had that knife ready with these 2 girls standing in front of you.
Objection as to the use of the term girls or women.
Women, pardon?
Whatever. They're young ladies.
Females, these 115-pound females.
115 pound
Right?
women are lethal.
I'm not going to deny that, but the odds, it's 50 first graders are lethal,
And you didn't hold it up and say, hey, I have a knife.
Oh, yeah, bigger than Jorge
Right?
Torres.
To me, that would be a threat.
Well, I'm not asking you that. You did not hold it up.
No.
And you didn't, in fact, you held it down by your side, right?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
Isn't that what you did?
Yes.
You didn't take a step back and brandish it and say, hey, back up, I have a knife, right?
Correct.
You opened it down low, and then you held it down low.
To and fro.
That's another thing that makes it so, even if you're 100% in the right, you're, number one, you've killed another person, so deal with that emotionally for the rest of your life. But the amount of things you have to do to, tick an imaginary list of boxes to, pass for a stand your ground or Catholic doctrine or whatever bullshit you're going to do, in most cases, it feels like prosecution or whatever, defense, whoever is asking, they want you to take a certain amount of shit, feel threatened, brandish the weapon, be it a gun or a knife, clearly state your intentions to defend yourself with that weapon, and then if they decide to go, that's when you get like the green check mark. When it can't all be as that like cut and dry, like you're not going to have time to like take a survey while you're being possibly attacked or whatever. Luckily, we're not in that situation. He was hanging around a bunch of kids who told him to get the fuck out of their face, and he decided to just stay there, take the abuse until he felt justified, like he had a meter. Like he showed up and he was a blank meter. He's like, I'm going to see if someone can blow my top. I got a knife. If I can get pushed into the red by between 1 and 7 groups of strangers, I'll start swinging.
Mm-hmm. He didn't. Did he think his friends actually would back him up, or he thought he was that tough? Like, well,
he did not think his friends would back him up because, again, like what happened was after all of this went down, he went even further away from his friends, ditched the knife, and then rejoined his friend group and made zero mention.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't a hero story. Like even though in his interrogation he's Jason Bourning, like flipping all these ninjas that come at him with knives. He didn't try to suck his own dick at all in his friends group. And like, that's what someone who does that would do.
Right.
Like people full of themselves will like gloat about like a good flossing session they had.
If you're doing that, you're smiling, right?
That's not a smile.
Well, let's take a look at the video.
Let's look at it again.
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, usually in my stressed moments, you can easily look over at me and you go, Dave, are you smiling? And I go, yeah, I'm having the worst day of my life. I'm being assaulted on all angles.
And annoyed.
And that's you holding your knife down by your belt line, right?
True.
Yes.
Yes.
When you pulled it out and opened it up, you held it with the blade facing up, right?
I didn't pay attention.
You would have to. With like a lock blade, you would know exactly what way the blade is going because you don't want it cutting you. And we'll get into it too, but like this feels 1000% premeditated because the way he struck these kids was like he kept the knife low and at his belt with the blade facing up so he would stab and pull up.
Oh.
So that's what happened to the first kid. Like it tore him up, but he survived. And the other kid, like since he was doing the same thing, going up and in, just went under the kid's ribs and jabbed him in the heart.
Oh God. I was just thinking he was holding it like that so they wouldn't see it.
No, like he knew that he was like, that's what I'm saying. It was planned. He had a style and an MO and even a technique locked and loaded in his mind. He had the blade up because he was going to come in low and slice up, which is exactly what he did. If you're not thinking about that, what a circuitous, like random chance, like sequence of events that is definitely more than like 4 steps. So it feels a little disingenuous to say, I don't know.
But in the video, yes.
And it becomes important later when you stab AJ because you didn't try to cut him down, you cut him up, right? Right?
That was not my intent.
Overruled. I believe the witness answered the question.
You had the knife blade up and you're saying you didn't know that?
I didn't pay attention.
As you're holding it there, you've got your thumb on the bottom of the handle, right?
What are your fingers doing? Just resting on the blade?
Right?
Yeah.
Someone this checked out in life wouldn't even make it as like a Burger King lobby attendant. Like you can't come in front of a court and like just be like, yeah, I don't know what happened, I don't remember. It's all just so crazy and all this other stuff. Like anybody in your real life who gave you this obfuscative an experience, just trying to learn basic details about a situation, you go, so what do you work like 12 hours a week at a Wendy's?
Yeah.
Blade up.
I see that.
Blades pointing at, looks like at Maddie Cohen, right?
Yes.
Nobody else.
It's hard to believe this man
I'll
had
strike
friends to do anything with, let alone river rafting.
Right. It's interesting you say that, Rachel, because it does feel like he was the tag along.
Yeah.
Like his wife had the friends group. Because, I mean, look at him, right? We've all had that sort of spare tire, triangle, unnecessary angle friend who just hangs out with a group because they're dating someone in it or they're married to somebody in it or whatever. You just can't shake them. That's what Nicolae feels like. Like his wife was probably like in an office somewhere and they go and do Margarita Mondays and stuff like that. And he just showed up because she's like, Nicolae, you've got to get out of the house and stop sharpening your knives all the time.
After you opened that knife, would it be fair to say that your fear level went down a little bit because now you had your knife open?
No.
All right. Was your fear level going up at that point? I think you said that earlier.
The whole situation was boiling up.
So when you have your knife open, you take a couple step backwards to get away from the situation?
I stood my ground. I stayed in place.
You never backed up one step, did you?
No.
You had your knife out and you were prepared to use it.
To defend myself.
I was raised not to back down.
Good news, jackass. Because of your like marriage to the principle of the situation, you now get to live next to a toilet for the rest of your fucking life.
At that point, there's nothing to defend yourself from, right?
I didn't know that.
I mean, you must have. You were there.
If I understand your testimony today, now you're acknowledging that you did do something to Maddie Cohen.
Yeah, the stand your ground defense. It's every lolcow bullshit. Like everybody who's an idiot gets fed this. It's. I would class this in the same type of genre or information, like where you ask them if they're a cop and they have to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is as ubiquitous as that, because an idiot gets this notion in their head where they go, well, I was feeling threatened. They'll say that. I was feeling threatened, like Benjamin, what's his nuts we just did. And you stand your ground, or that New Jersey lady you shot through her door. All you have to do is just justify to yourself that you're being threatened. You don't have to check any boxes for anybody else.
Yep.
And then you can just kill willy-nilly. I was standing my ground. It wasn't your ground. It was a huge river, and you got into their space, and you're like, I'm standing my ground. That's like walking into your neighbor's house and planting your flag in their toilet and being like, this is mine now. And if they try to come in and take a shit, you kill them.
Which started off this fight, right?
Objection argumentative.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
Break, I'm going to have that song
Yes.
stuck in my head the rest of the night. Thank you.
Classic Tom Petty.
It's like trying to get your case thrown out because you weren't read the Miranda rights.
Right. Like Cyrus, what's his nuts, the pizza delivery guy, who is like, oh, they didn't meet me my Miranda rights. I'll be walking out of here in my pink fucking hat and my Ugg boots. Sure, I went to that little girl's house 3 times, 2 after I was fired from the pizza delivery job. But I wanted to hug, or maybe I had to urinate. People have to exist places. Good defense, Cyrus, you idiot.
Ultimate basic bitch move.
Hell yeah. I mean, not for nothing. Why not cut this out later?
Mr. Smestad, would you please rephrase the question?
I will, Your Honor.
Can't wait.
You're testifying today that you did actually make physical contact with Maddie Cohen, right?
I have to
Before
say,
you were punched.
I could never be a defense or a prosecuting attorney. I respect the fact that these guys can like think on the fly kind of and like reword a question or like change directions so fast, because I'd never be able to do that.
Well, it's just a matter of repetition. You have to. It feels like it would be easy to me. Like if I were a prosecuting attorney, I would just build a timeline of all the pertinent details. all the important stuff that I want to ask questions about that I know he lied about because I have access to the footage, I would just walk through that way. And, you know, we give prosecutors and whatever a lot of shit when they have to go, okay, or they just go moving on or whatever. But to them, it must not even feel like a speed bump because they know they're going to hit a bunch of resistance. All they need is to show the jury, hopefully not with 10 lapser on the same fucking question, that the truth of the facts is unassailable because we have, again, not just like witness testimony, whatever, like that is highly dubious because human memory is flawed. A Samsung Galaxy S9 isn't going to be like, I think I saw it. It did. It saw the whole thing. It's not going to tint it in like a hero story. It can't be like, well, then he turned into Jason Bourne and fought off all these ninjas.
Or anything else, right?
Right, Brick.
I may
Yeah,
have.
I'm the same. I'd be like, where was I, Judge?
Just focus up, people.
Remember that?
Well, I remember what I said, but I went over to push. She was right in my face, right in my space, yelling. And I could smell the alcohol in her breath.
I was standing my ground, which happened to be in the middle of their selection of tubes.
You'd been
I
drinking
could smell
too,
the
so
alcohol in
your
her breath, but not mine, though.
I didn't have vodka and all the other garbage.
My point is,
I just had
Garbage.
17 beers. Vodka and all that other garbage from Mother Russia.
today you testified that you did something physical to Madison Cohen before you were punched,
Yeah,
right?
Olivia Newton-John it.
Correct?
I don't know
I don't need to do that, Brick.
if I touched her or not. It's possible that I did.
Right, vodka doesn't really
If
smell.
your friend Sergio testified last week that he saw you push her and she went flying back a couple of steps, that's what happened, right?
Objection as to form.
Sustained.
Were you present when Sergio testified?
Objection as to form irrelevant.
Sustained.
Sustained. Just like your underwear, Your Honor. They're sustained.
Ah,
He was living in a van down by the river.
After you pushed Maddie Cohen, only one person ever punched you, right?
From the video?
Right.
That's what I see, right?
in general.
Like, at all. Like, it's video or not. Like, from the
I
video?
don't remember what happened there at that time.
I'm not asking you what you remember, I'm asking what actually happened.
Oh.
I got punched.
Objection, no foundation.
Sustained. Rephrase the question. Start.
We saw in the video that only
Yeah, he doesn't like to be non-compass mentis, Rachel.
one
Oop.
person ever punched you, right?
Yes.
Objection. Me,
It's crossed, it's not
Hold on.
legal.
can I approach?
Yes.
It's cross. Approach. More static, please.
Ah,
Ay, ay, ay. Look at him, though. Like, he's not... He's got a stronger foundation than most we've seen on the stand. Like, it almost felt like Sarah Boone got more defiant as she fought against, the injustice. But, like, Shonda turned... It, like... If you fast forward through Shonda's cross-examination, it looks like if you turn that hour and a half into like a 5-second clip, it's like she opens the Ark of the Covenant. She's like, just like ages 40
oh
years
yeah,
in
she
3
just
seconds.
melts.
Yeah, she just turns into like this horrible little Skeksis. She looks like a Jim Henson creation by the end. I mean, he's holding up well comparatively, but still not great.
He's just like, what are they talking about?
And like that's the thing. Since the mics are so sensitive, I wonder if it's like if there's a loudspeaker in this court, like so that because typically they want that so that the jury can hear. Because a lot of people get up on the stand, they whisper into the
Yeah.
or they run a thumb across a comb. ASMR, right? Are you talking about me? He said, kill the bitch. He said, kill the bitch. I'm saying, this motherfucker's going to die. And he pulled up a stick. Was a stick or a shotgun? I'm pretty sure it might have just been a stick.
Oh yeah. Do you think she wears those braids all the time in prison? Probably.
She has to. She's worried about getting a stack.
You testified that you went down and you fell down in the water when you were punched, right?
Yes,
And you indicated, I
hard
think, that
punch.
you were
Remember
punched
that.
in your jaw, I think on your left side of your body.
yes,
You weren't there.
You weren't there.
You testified that you fell back in the water and hit your head, right?
yes.
You did not drop
Just
your
waiting for his Kung Pao chicken.
right?
Yeah, he's just a frustrated businessman coming home on New Year's Eve to see his crappy wife and shitty kid. And just like waiting for his Kung Pao chicken, like, ah.
You held on to it when you fell down into the water.
Yes,
Lucky.
When Dante Carlson hit you, he was holding a can of beer in one hand, right?
Oh, I should have said his pepper
Yeah.
steak made in a
that-
different way.
Is that on the video?
yes,
He was fighting you with one hand.
yes,
You never suffered any kind of bruising or cuts to your face from this incident, right?
Of course not. I'm a man.
and then
No, he does this thing. He goes, I got the inside of my cheek.
side of my cheek.
You cut
Okay, so you split a guy open like you were gutting a fish and you killed a man by stabbing him in the heart. But you got a little boo-boo on the inside of your cheek there.
Oh.
Get some, not Lamisil. The foot fungus. What's that one you put on your face for cold sores? That one. Get it.
you cut the inside of
Curex
your
or
cheek.
something?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, you never had any bruising on your jaw.
The BJ
right?
thing?
I don't remember. I mean, I had a beard. I couldn't tell.
It was a beard exactly like it is today. We just saw it on the fucking video. It's like a quarter of an inch long and it's white as a ghost.
Ambicil.
Ambisol, thank you.
You weren't bleeding from your face anywhere.
No, not that I know.
CarMax. CarMax? That's where you buy cars. You're thinking of CarMex. That horrifying, it's like petroleum jelly with piss in it.
Let's play the video of him stabbing you.
Come on, Steve. Let's play the video.
Check out that video where he totally stabs that guy. I think the jury will love it.
It's very realistic.
Once you're knocked down in the water, AJ Madison comes up to you and pushes on your back, right?
Objection, no foundation.
Sustained.
We'll play the video.
Play the video, Steven.
He doesn't know what you're talking about. Oh, well, it's good news. We've got 4K. That nose breathing like reminds me of my dentist.
Yes.
Like, is there another profession where you hear as much breath pass through a nose as like a dentist?
Yeah, my orthodontist, that's how he sounded when he was right up in my face doing my braces.
Because what other doctors, like even ophthalmologists, don't get that close. You're just standing there with your mouth wide open as like booger particulate floats in. He goes, ah.
Stop it.
You were pushed in the back by AJ Madison, right?
Objection, no foundation.
Overruled.
No foundation. He's
And we're
watching the video.
It. We're watching it. The camera isn't panning, but we are watching it, defense attorney.
Response, you got up out of the water, right? You take your knife in your right hand with the blade up, right?
Objection is in narration.
Overruled.
That's what you did, right?
Still in my hand, yes, that way.
You jabbed it into his belly.
About the same time he hit me in the throat.
That's not what I'm asking.
Yes.
You jabbed it into his belly, right?
Yes,
Instead of pulling it out,
Yes.
you pulled up,
Oh,
right?
because I had so much time to think about it.
so much time to think about it. I stabbed him. We stood there for 4 or 5 minutes, and I go, should I go up or pull it out? And I go, whoop,
You pulled up.
I did not pull up.
Okay,
Look at the angle of my arm.
pull up.
We're stopped at timestamp 156. You see your knife,
Yes,
how close it is to his jaw, his chin?
yes,
That's because when you stabbed him, instead of pulling out, you went up, right?
And the only way you could do that is if you pre-planned by putting the blade up. Because otherwise, the blade would have just folded right back onto your fingers, and you don't want that. You're trying to kill someone else. You're not trying to give yourself injury, right, Nicolae?
Just pull out.
I had so much time
I
to
was
think.
falling backwards with the knife in my arm, in my hand. And
Again, falling backwards, you're not going to, like, reach up to the dude's jaw.
Yeah.
the angle of my arm was about the same. Just got hit in the throat.
In this frame of the video, the knife's pointing straight up, right?
Yes.
You went in, pulled up, and it's by the time you got done up by his face, your knife's pointing straight up.
Objection as, sorry.
Overruled.
Fuck
Answer
you.
the question.
Overruled.
It's straight up.
At that point, Tony Carlson came in to break up the fight.
Objection, speculation.
We have it on video. Like, at that, like, it's not even like speculation. No, we've got it from at least two different angles. At that point, we can reasonably assume, we don't even have to assume. We can just take for granted because it's reality.
Doesn't know what Tony Carlson's doing or wrong.
Overruled. You can ask the question, he can answer.
I don't know what he was doing.
You know that he told Dante Carlson to back up, right?
Objection, no foundation.
Overruled.
Do I know from video and from testimony? Yes. At the time, I didn't know.
I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Like, it's amazing to me that in these type of idiots' mind, the best case scenario is to just not even deny that you were there because we have the video, but denying the reason for, the severity of, and basically all the finer details of the crime. Like, I can't imagine making such a life-changing event. Like, it's not like you were going to the store and you came back without milk and you go, because I was somewhere else at the time.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
This was a prolonged and intentional act. And to just like to be a family member or someone on the, the receiving end, tangentially or not, for him to be like, I don't even know why I did it. Like, I don't know. I don't know what I would rather hear as like a victim, like have the person who victimized me go like, I don't even know why I did it. Or for them to just go like, yeah, I wanted to do it and I'm a bad person. What would feel better? Probably neither.
Right.
But like, there's got to be some middle ground because it just feels so. I don't know. It's unsatisfying narratively, but like we can't apply like the 3-act structure to reality. So it does just feel like, and this might be a problem with the attorneys too, because they have to keep asking the same question. It's just like, well, like, God damn, bitch.
Yeah. Rachel says, I envy these people in a way. It must be nice to be so self-assured.
To a point.
Right.
After you've lost 120 pounds because you've been living off bread and water and your head rests next to a toilet every night, you probably feel less secure.
Brick says, I'm sure his wife will be glad he's in prison. Bet he was abusive to her too.
Right?
Probably.
Like, they have been sleeping in this like different bedrooms for the past 13 years. And she's like, finally.
After you stabbed A.J. Madison, you were pushed back into the water, right?
Just sorry, it's A.J. Carlson.
Pardon me.
Objection.
Wrong name.
Name.
He's wrong name of the person
Sustained.
that they stabbed.
No, it's not. It's not.
A.J. Martin.
It's A.J. Madison. He's not part of the Carlson family. A.J. Martin.
Thank you.
Pardon me. After you stabbed A.J. Martin, you were pushed back into the water, right?
Yes.
Nobody jumped on top of you.
They probably should have.
No.
Nobody was kicking at you or punching you.
No.
And you were outnumbered like 8-1. They totally could have.
Yeah.
Like,
You're just in the
this
water.
wasn't a Rodney King situation. You weren't pulled from a semi-truck and beaten on the streets of L.A.
By yourself, right?
Apparently, yes.
We're going to take a look at the video starting at 1:55.
Oh, for sure, Brick. Because Brick says, I bet so many people that knew him
Weren't surprised.
yeah, weren't surprised. Same with Michael Dunn, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like because it didn't feel like his fiance was like she was blown away by the crime, but it didn't feel like she was all surprised that he did it. Like, yeah.
Can't believe it took this long.
you and I probably, anybody watching probably has someone in your life where, like, if this happened to someone that you knew and they disappeared from society and they go, oh yeah, like they just went crazy and killed somebody, you'd go like, oh yeah, I fucking knew. But like, what do?
Right.
Lock someone up because someone's a weirdo?
Yeah.
That's you in the water, still holding your knife, right?
Can't let that go.
Pardon me.
You
This is
already lost
before
the phone.
You got up. At this point, you're standing there. There's nobody hitting you.
Menacingly.
Nobody's punching you. Nobody's kicking you, right?
Objection, that's
Objection, that might be speculation. He could have been receiving ghost kicks.
This might be something.
he's not
The
standing.
river spirit could have been punching his kidneys, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, please come up.
Yeah, we need more
damn it.
static in this shit. Oh my god. But again, now that they're going to be doing this, let's just reiterate. Like, live and let live. Don't fuck with people. Get an attorney ASAP. And should all of that fail and then you realize, oh shit, it's time to start fighting for my life, don't get up on the stand.
Right.
No matter how much you butter that dog turd, it's still a dog turd. Like,
But it's buttery, greasy.
yeah. And that's the thing. Nicolae here doesn't seem to be like a brophy where he wants to like big up his writing game and like when he is found innocent, like his book sales will take off. This doesn't, he doesn't come across as overly, how do I want to put this? Like arrogant necessarily. Like Shonda and Nancy definitely gave off like the vibe of I got this. Like,
Oh, yeah. This
like
is a win for
3
me.
snaps and a twist. Like, put me up on that stand, let me suck my own dick for 3.5 hours, and then let the prosecution try to pick apart, you know, my Killdozer style armor. And it's never even like as if you go from a Killdozer to as soon as the prosecutor steps up and asks his first question, it turns out you're just a bit of crochet that someone found on Facebook.
You're just paper mache and you just fall apart.
Let's continue. Next question,
Oh, good.
please.
In any event, you were sitting in the water after A.J. Martin pushed you over, right?
I landed on my butt.
Right.
So
in
you
the
were
river.
sitting.
But
yes.
at that point, the fight didn't continue. People weren't punching on you, right?
At that time, I couldn't tell what was going on around me.
Yeah, like fucking Michael Dredgka. 2 steps running, dude was actually turning around to run for his life because you pulled a gun on him. But in your head, since you're the hero, you like, again, MacGyvered your way into a solution where like you turned a gun into a killing machine. Way to go. You used all of your brain power to shoot a man fleeing. You used all of your might to kill a teenager in a river. My hero.
Yep.
That's at the point that Tony Carlson came over, was yelling at people to back up. Do you remember that?
From the video.
You don't have a memory of that in your head? He
got punched
separated
in the
Dante
face.
from you, right?
Objection, no foundation.
Overruled.
Right?
Stop saying that.
If it's from my memory, I don't remember that.
That's what the jury would love to hear. Like, not only do you get to be treated like an idiot by the prosecution because they have to treat you like you're a double-digit IQ just in case, but then you have to sit through this willful ignorance of like, no, I remember college, I remember Thanksgiving, murder at a river. What? No, nothing at all.
I remember everything
Tony
up to 5
Carlson
minutes before
never
the
punched
murder.
you.
I kept my phone in my bra, and it turns out I was getting coffee where near my husband was killed. But I was writing a sexy novel while doing it.
Correct?
Correct.
He never
Rachel,
kicked
have
you,
you
never
read
pushed you.
any of Nancy Brophy's stories? Type a 1 in the chat if you have.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
And you turned around and you stabbed him twice, right?
If that's what the video shows. Great.
What?
Hey, you turn around and you stabbed him twice.
Charades.
The answer to that?
Spirit fingers.
Next question.
Ryan, you've read
couldn't
one?
See, I couldn't hear. I didn't know who was punching me, touching me, shoving me, nothing.
ASMR reading
I
of
was
her book.
fearing for my life.
Huh.
You stabbed the guy who tried to break up the
I
fight.
was standing by
twice,
river.
Right?
Objection. Form.
Overruled.
That's what happened, right?
That's what happened.
And luckily for him, he was able to block your first stab, so you stabbed him again, right?
How do I answer this? Because I can't say no. Again, there's a video. How do you answer this?
Charades again?
The Batusi. Case dismissed. And the answer is?
I had milliseconds to think.
The answer is yes. You stabbed him again.
Yeah.
It's not a yes, no, or I had milliseconds to think answer.
Riley Madison, after you stabbed Tony
3 words.
Carlson, you turned around, you got up, you turned around, and you sliced Riley Madison through her left side of her body, right?
Yes.
She wasn't punching you or kicking you.
She came at me. She had her hands on me.
At the time you stabbed her, she had her hands on you.
Yes.
This 115-pound woman.
With no
attacked
weapon in
you
a bikini.
Wait for it, because he's going to double down on the weight thing.
while you're standing there holding a knife.
She could have been 500 pounds.
No, she couldn't have been. She would have been humongous. Like, have you seen a 500-pound woman? Have you ever watched A&E? My 600-pound life is not that far from 500. This chick is slim and rocking a B cup. She could have been 500 pounds. What, is she like adamantium, man? Like her bones are made out of concrete?
I don't know. I'm sorry, sir, but
You've never told anyone ever that Riley Madison attacked you and that's why you stabbed her, right?
No.
You're saying it today for the first time.
I don't remember this whole thing.
After you
Depends how the
stabbed
weight is
Riley
distributed.
Madison, Isaac Schumann tries to push you, right?
Oh, that's another good point. Like, would a regular... Here's the thing. At least at the Arizona branch of rivers and streams, the Salt River would rent out regular inner tubes for most normal people. If you were $3 plus, you got a tractor tire and you had to pay like $10 extra.
Huh.
They didn't have very many tractor tires, but I imagine their inventory has gone up in recent years.
Probably.
And he lands his hands on my throat, yes.
Yeah, but his hands originally weren't anywhere near your throat. They were on your shoulder and your chest, right?
I didn't take measurements, but yeah.
Did you feel choked, sir?
Were you feeling choked?
I didn't pull out my tape measure to see how long his wingspan was on my throat or chest or shoulder.
Picture, yes.
And as soon as he touches you, you stab up into his heart with your knife, right?
Objection, no foundation.
This area, yes.
Overruled.
He went for my...
That's a good question, Rachel.
Yeah.
What would measurements have to do in this situation? Like, was he applying for a Men's Warehouse gig and he's like, let me do that inseam?
You're going to love the way you look.
And I defended myself.
He does look a little bit like the Men's Warehouse guy.
Yeah.
Are you saying, we're going to look at the video.
Yeah, of course we are.
Timestamps.
We're going to start.
Was he choking you? Did you measure? Yeah. How did I know he was choking you? What were the measurements? Right? I'd be like, hey, was I strangled? Where's that tape measure?
202, and for anybody who doesn't want to watch, you might want to avert your eyes.
You won't have to. They're not going to even pan over.
Ready?
Because it's when he kills the kid.
Oh, yeah. Jury, you have to watch though.
Yeah, like that's the one thing about being a jury is like you're basically signed up for potential PTSD depending on the case.
Stop it with his hands get on him.
Stop it after he's murdered.
What's the time range? 205. We're at 205, the timestamp on the video. That's Isaac Schumann, right? If you know.
Oh, someone's
His
crying.
left-
I guess. Well, yeah, of course. Like,
Oh, I just heard the sniffles.
why do we have to? I don't know. It feels like mediocre attorneys do this. Like the good ones cut through it like a knife through a hot knife through butter. But like we've said the name Isaac Schumann so many times. Like, of course, it's him. Is that him? Huh? Now that you know. Let's just cut out all that shit.
His left hand on your arm,
Measure twice, cut several
Right.
times.
Right.
his right hand on your chest. Right?
Is that your neck?
They're not on your
Nicolae?
throat.
Did you measure your neck?
In that particular frame, correct.
And your right hand is
I
cocked,
guess if you were to measure that, it would be on my chest.
your elbow's bent, right?
No.
Okay.
And you've got the knife in your
Okay.
hand.
Yes.
Let's play it through, please. And as he's pushing you, you jam your knife up into his heart, through his ribcage. Right?
After he touches my throat and pushes me back, yes.
Death sentence. You got pushed and he touched your throat? Why aren't doctors all like PCPs all across the nation should be slaughtered wholesale?
Correct.
As your arm is moving up to stab him, you actually moved his arm closer up your, or farther up your body with your own movement, right?
Just say yes, dude. It's on the video.
I don't know how to answer that. I didn't see that.
What?
At the time that this incident happened, you agreed you weighed 248 pounds.
Yeah.
248
Yes.
pounds.
Not one of these people that you stabbed so far in the video were armed in any fashion, right?
Right.
You told an elaborate story about people pulling knives on you, right?
Again, after this, or right now, I don't care when you do it, watch his interrogation footage, because when he's left to his own devices and he doesn't have to say, I don't remember, the only reason we're not watching it is because it's like the Justin Ross Harris interrogation, where the only footage I could find was filmed on a screen in court. So the sound is ass. But if you can suffer through the terrible quality, he definitely does not say, I don't remember. What he does say is a bunch of like hyperbolic and action movie style bullshit. Like in his mind, it was lock, stock, and two smoking barrels.
Yep. All these cases are very sad, but
Right?
drunk adults are
Story?
obviously nothing compared to children who were starved to death. Yeah, We don't do very many children stuff on our
I don't
channel.
do kids stuff because, the one thing that I have in common with criminals is I don't like kids being hurt. That's our Venn diagram overlaps. So I will almost never, unless like it's a very strange set of circumstances where I can push past like the horrifying reality of it, they have to be adults, because then I go, okay, everybody involved had an opportunity and some frame of reference to disengage. Like nobody is in a stroller and just at the mercy of somebody else.
No point did anybody pull any knife on you, right?
Correct.
You're the only person who had a knife.
Correct.
But feel like he's gonna mispronounce because I think the detective's name is Knudsen, but he says Knudsen a bunch.
You had said earlier that you had waived for your friends to come over because you were so scared.
You also didn't give him the Wi-Fi password. Yeah, right, Benjamin. What's his nuts? Benjamin. I want to call him Sniffles, but yeah, his entire case is weird, and his white trash girlfriend like is the icing on that cake. I'm glad you went and saw that because like woof. And again, I'm going to double down. Recommend watch the interrogation of this guy because his story is a hero. He's not a victim. He's got a hero complex. He killed children and came out the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Scared, right? Right?
Right?
During we're moving back in time now?
Oh, yeah. Earlier you had waived. We
Yeah,
saw the
still
video. You
hanging
said you
by
had
that
waived to your
moment,
friends because
detective?
You were scared. Your fear level was at whatever.
Whatever.
And in fact, Ariel came over, right?
Yes.
And he's in the group at the point that Riley Madison's standing there bleeding into the river, right? He's standing right behind her.
Yep.
And at the time that you stabbed Tony Carlson, Ariel's right there, right in the group, correct?
I see that in the video, yes.
And when you stabbed Isaac Schumann, he's also standing there, right?
I didn't see him there at the time, but yes, in the video, yes.
So,
Right, but you also didn't realize you were holding a knife, you stabbing people. You didn't realize you were in a river. Like, where did you think you were at this time? Like, sitting in a beanbag chair at, like, a JB Hi-Fi or whatever?
narrative about it being 13 on 1, you had a friend there, right?
Objection, argumentative, form,
Form,
foundation. Like, he's just
foundation.
running down the list at this point, like, anything, Your Honor? And he's like, please stop.
I feel like
Your
he's
friend is
just like
standing right
sitting
there.
there
He's
with
in
his
the
hand in his chin in his hand, like argumentative
Form, foundation, concealer,
speculation.
rouge.
Video. I don't remember him being there.
No, but you don't remember shit, so we don't care.
But you saw him coming,
I don't remember
walking
that.
downstream.
I don't remember.
You waved for him, right?
I waved at my group.
Where he was in.
But so you remember the wave? So you were a brief head above the waters of lucidity and then only to go back down? I remember the wave. Were you at a soccer game?
At no point when you stabbed Tony, Riley, and Isaac, did you call out to your friend and say, hey, help me.
I stabbed
They're attacking
people.
me.
Check this shit
Right?
out. I'm
Even though
stabbing
he's
people.
in the frame and he's close to the action, so to speak. You never said that, right?
I was stunned. I had
Got hit in the
here.
face.
I had. I guess don't answer that question.
No. Moving on.
The last person you stabbed was Dante Carlson, right?
To date.
yes.
And this
Hey,
is
I'm stabbing over here.
Hey!
in the sequence of events, everything else had happened, right?
Yes.
Objection as to form, I don't know what everything else.
Sustained.
All the other stabbings had already occurred, right? At the point that you stabbed Dante
Objection. I don't think the jury can infer what everything else means. Basically, everything he says he doesn't remember is everything else.
Carlson.
Yes.
He wasn't punching you at that point.
I was surrounded. People were coming at me. I just came up a couple of times, being punched in the head, punched in the mouth. I fell on river rocks. I was in pain.
You got punched once.
Right.
I was hurting.
Tony Carlson had broken up the fight between you and Dante never hit you again after that, did he?
Objection, that's
Sustained.
That's
form.
something.
Objection. That's the form.
Words.
Scantron, Your Honor.
He sustained it, so.
Approach.
Please rephrase.
At the point that you stabbed Dante Carlson, he was not fighting with you, right?
Correct.
He had not punched you immediately before you decided to stab
This
him.
is number 4. The
Correct.
fourth
In
person
fact,
that
you
he
took a couple
stabbed.
steps toward him to stab him, didn't you?
I thought he was attacking me.
How? Right?
He wasn't on top of you.
No blows were landing, no kicks were felled.
I thought he was attacking me with his eyes.
Still standing my ground, swiping in every direction.
So at that point, you stabbed 5 people and you decide to leave the area. Is that true?
Thought it was a
walked
good time
away.
to jet.
It's
You
about
walked
time.
up to Ernesto, right?
Yes.
You didn't say anything about being attacked, right?
I was in shock.
You
I didn't
said-
think it was
I hadn't
relevant.
crafted that story about me like stealing the dude's knives and like putting it between my teeth and like, you know, cinching that red bandana around my head, pulling that 50 cal off of that Jeep and mowing down all of my enemies.
They took my knife, right? To Ernesto.
I don't
Right,
remember
you think
that.
you'd have a
but
better
that's what-
story.
Right. And that's the thing. He didn't even need somebody to give him a book or to feed him like of a battered spouse syndrome. All he needed was that 4 hours between like arrest and interrogation to make up a whole cloth bullshit story that couldn't even stand under any scrutiny.
I said, according to all the video and,
Well, if Ernesto said that, that's what you
Yes.
said.
yeah.
You still got the knife on your person, right? Even though you just
On
told them
you.
they took your knife, you still had it. Right?
No. When I reached the tubes,
No. When Ernesto,
We're talking about after you stabbed the 5 people, dude. We're hanging by that moment.
Ernesto came walking up, and you walked up to him, you told him they took my knife. It's the first thing out of your mouth, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Okay.
Instead of walking to your group, you walked up to the south side, south shore of the lake, of the river, right?
Looking for my goggles.
Yes.
Ditching
And on the
evidence.
way, you washed off the knife in the river.
One step above like keeping the receipt for your kill kit is like, just like staying at the crime scene, but throwing it just like, you know, like as if you're in a video game and there's like a big glowing green orb that like shows you where the crime scene is. And as long as you can chuck the murder weapon outside of that boundary, you get off scot-free.
Yeah.
Like this isn't GTA 5.
I don't remember that.
Well, you had blood on your hand and on the knife, right?
Yes.
When you left
Probably.
the area, right?
Yeah.
You stabbed 4
When you
people.
got back to your group, nobody saw any blood on your hands or, right?
Objection, foundation. You didn't know what.
Sustained.
At some point, you rinsed your hand and the knife in the water, right?
I don't remember that. But, yeah.
But what you do remember is
Well, yeah.
throwing the knife up into the bushes on the south bank.
Right on the bank, yes.
Why?
And then you finally walked over to your group, right?
As I was walking, I threw it away, yes.
No.
No. You walked out of your way to get to the south bank to get rid of it, and then walked back across the river to your group, right?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled.
That's what you did, right?
Yes.
He said no 3 times, Your Honor. I think he's arguing my client. No. Or I said no 3 times. He said no once.
We're gonna play the video taken by Larry and Davis, Judge.
Okay.
Yeah, so I believe that's the one because everybody, you know, in the group had a phone on them. But like there were people all over the river who saw this shit happening. And that's the thing. The river is the perfect place for like gawkers to be.
Yeah.
Please take the jury out.
All rise for the jury.
Take a little lunch break. But doesn't he look like a little, I mean, especially in this profile, it looks like Harold T. Stone. Like he should be playing practical jokes in the courtroom.
From this far away, he kind of looks like the oh God, the guy from MASH. Yeah,
MASH?
The priest guy from MASH. From far away. I'm far away from the TV.
Oh, he looks a little bit, but I don't know. He looks a little more like Radar mixed with Jamie Farr's character. I can't remember his name now. Jamie Farr.
You want
Klinger.
to ask me some more questions about the stabbing of Dante.
The priest. What was his name? His real name is like Christopher Frost. Father Mulcahy.
Father Mulcahy.
Carlson. Is it fair to say that you did not know that Larry and Davis was recording that part of it?
No.
And you've seen that video here in court.
But I thank you, Brick, for agreeing with me.
You are the person in the dark shorts, correct?
This is so annoying.
So this is while the jury is out?
No, they're back.
Oh,
Like,
they came
had a
back.
little
Oh,
break
okay.
or whatever, so they had a recess. So now, even though... So since this is the footage shot across the river and not like of him like assaulting the person holding the phone.
Oh, they need to make sure that he's saying that
But
it's
he's
him.
not going to say that. They're going to go, okay, so it's obviously him. It's a huge 250-pound man assaulting 17-year-olds. And he's like, I don't know who's in those black trunks. And it'll be, just buckle up for it.
In that video?
It was not very clear, so I couldn't make out who was who.
Right, there's a person wearing dark shorts with the same body type as you in the video.
Gray hair, gray beard, super fat.
The
huge
only
man
one around
tits,
teenagers.
Not 17. Do you think that's you? Do you think that's you?
Is it you?
Fair.
Hold on. Sustained.
Well, we're going to watch the video.
Let's just watch
We're
it.
going to watch it through at full
Judge?
speed. Your screen's not on.
Yeah, 'cause it's so far across the river, it's all just like garbled.
Yeah.
Imagine like sitting there watching this and realizing you're going to have to answer that same question. Is that you in the dark shorts? And a room full of people just saw it and you got to go like, no?
I don't think so. Oh my God.
Is that you?
Was that you screaming, oh my God?
We're going to play part of it, but slower, but not the end part. We're ready. What's the time for it? Yeah.
Okay.
This is at the very beginning. And Mr. Mew, do you see yourself in the left-hand side foreground wearing the dark shorts where the cursor's pointed?
I can't make out.
It looks like my ass though.
I can't make it out. Like, what do you expect to get out of this?
You don't know if that's you?
No.
Did anyone else on the river have the same body shape that you had at the time?
Objection, no fun.
Objection, body shaming.
Sustained.
Sustained.
Was anybody else 250 pounds?
Anyone
Probably. I
rocking a flabby set of man tits like you had out there?
mean, there's probably a few.
I mean, in that group? 13 ghosts.
You've been in court since the beginning of the trial, right?
Sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
You've seen all these people testify,
Yes.
Totally.
the people that were all involved in the incident, right?
And your
Spaggies
friends.
out there.
At the time that you stabbed these folks, there wasn't anybody else in that
Looking like you, stabbing these folks as well, were they? Like you weren't one of two doppelgangers?
area of the river that had the same body shape as you, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. It's the same question.
God damn it, it was you! Say it's you!
Just say it.
You're aware that Dante Carlson's wearing shorts that are black on the bottom and light gray on top, right?
That's what I learned.
I learned that today.
Oh.
We're gonna go through slowly.
Is this you going really slow?
Yes.
Is council approaching?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn.
Approach.
I learned it too. Yeah, we're all learning something here today. And it's bizarre where you see people dig their heels into the dirt, right? Because his face isn't like crystal clear, because again it was shot across the river. You can comfortably say I don't know, because you've been saying I don't know and I don't remember, because of the pixelated footage and the fact that, you know, dude was minding his own business and wasn't planning on capturing a murder that day.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that do for you?
Right. Not only that, but like, what is the point of playing this if it is blurry?
Well, because it's just a secondary view. I mean, obviously you can see who is doing what. We've got a million points of context. It's just like, this feels so much like a toddler with fucking cupcake frosting all over their face, and you go, where are all the cupcakes? And they just refuse.
Right. Hey, Judge, what are you doing for dinner?
It's such a... I'd rather have them take him out for a meatball sub like Todd Colehep.
Yeah.
Back at it, Nicolae.
In any event, after you got rid of the knife on the south side of the river, you walked back to the north side of the river where your group was in the at the sandbar, right?
Yes.
Sat in your tube? Did you sit down in your tube?
Yes.
Huh? Did I what, my tube?
I heard
Eric
tube.
Williams from your group, realizing that people were hurt, left?
Objection, form, lack of foundation that Eric Williams.
Sustained.
Did you see Eric Williams leave your group?
No.
Did you see
At
anything
some
that
point,
day?
did you notice he wasn't with your group anymore?
I didn't do a head count, sir. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, when you got 5 of your closest friends, it's easy to lose one and then just not know it, right? You guys have ever been in such a large group, 4 or 5 people, and one disappears, and it's like hours later you go, hey, where's Todd?
Did anyone else from your tubes go to help with the folks on the river that were hurt?
I feel like a lot of places are named the Sandbar Brick. Like, I feel like I've seen that place in like Santa Monica.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
What was the
I
question?
don't remember.
Oh, great.
I wasn't
good.
paying attention to anybody in my group.
Why? Why not? You don't pay attention to your victims, your friends, your family, your wife, the river, nature, the weather.
When you went back to your tube, you put your shirt back on, right?
I was cold. Yes.
And you put on
Brr.
your hat, right?
Yes.
And your sunglasses.
Yes.
It's bright
Eventually,
outside.
you saw police officers and emergency medical technicians show up on the river, right?
Yes.
Wading up the river, right?
Yes.
Trying to help people that had been injured. And
By you.
Yeah.
Foundation.
Overruled.
you saw that happen, right?
Yes.
You didn't approach anybody to say you were attacked, as far as law enforcement or EMTs or anything like that.
I hadn't made up my story yet, because like, what am I
Right.
going to say? Yeah, I stabbed those kids, but I don't remember.
All right.
No, I just pooped myself. I was afraid to go in that area.
Even though
sorry.
there's police presence everywhere, you were afraid to walk over there and tell them, hey, this is what happened.
Yes, sir.
So you got in your tube and you floated down the river.
Listen, I don't buy this if you're a 65-year-old man weighing 250 pounds or you're a 14-year-old black kid in the inner city. If you see cops, get scared and run. I was scared, y'all. I don't care. Like, I've been scared before. I know that, like, I know what suspicious behavior looks like. And the fact that someone can look into another human being's face and go, I was scared. Like, the cops told you to stop. There were cops all over the place. Like, you were scared of the cops that were coming to resolve the issue that you created?
Mm-hmm.
Like at that point, it's like not only the public at large, but like the conspiracy is so grand that now even like the cops want you down, like you're Daryl Brooks, like there's some sort of like, or Robert Tejas where you go like, yeah, it wasn't only these guys, but like the river was against me, the people who worked at the river, the local municipalities, like all the
Everybody.
frogs and the reeds.
Immediately, we waited there. We had people, from what I learned, not that I remember, that called
I don't
911, and yeah, I don't remember any of that stuff.
You
So
were
I don't
too
remember.
busy stabbing people.
Do you remember waiting for Eric Williams?
Why even go places of leisure or enjoyment if you're going to not like? Imagine going to Disneyland with Nicolae here, and you get back, you're his. I don't want to like denigrate her, but you're his wife, and you go, "How did you like Disneyland?" And he goes, "Disney who?" I remember eating cornflakes, and now I'm sitting in the bathtub.
Williams to come back.
Like if you're losing like days of time just due to blackouts, like see a doctor. Like you don't need to be in court. See a doctor unless you kill someone. Then you go to court.
Yeah.
Back to join your group so you could leave?
I don't remember.
All right, do you remember saying, let's
Great.
go? You yourself saying that?
Objection asked and answered, cumulative city.
Overruled, overruled.
I don't remember.
Great. I love that answer.
Nice.
Fucking love it.
Ernesto Torres, he's your best friend?
Yes,
The best friend.
You didn't tell him what happened as you were floating away?
I didn't talk to him. I don't remember talking to anybody. I don't even remember going down the river or up the river.
What a great like dude to hang around here, right? You take him somewhere, he doesn't remember the places you take him, so there's money burned. It's like taking a goldfish to Magic Mountain. And then not only will he not remember, so you can't connect with him on any sort of, human level there, but he's just like staring off into space, not talking to you, just
He's just a
I don't
shell.
remember. He doesn't remember conversations that other people had. He doesn't partake in any himself, and he doesn't remember where he is. Yeah, whoa! It's like a guy who suffered a traumatic brain injury but still can walk.
I was just stunned. I don't remember anything.
You didn't tell Ernesto, I was afraid for my life and I did this?
No.
You never told Ernesto that I acted in self-defense?
I don't remember talking to anybody.
You didn't say I was afraid they were going to kill me, these folks?
Objection, no foundation. He said he doesn't remember.
I don't remember.
I'll just say it again.
As you were leaving the area, you saw folks giving CPR to Isaac Schumann, right?
I didn't see that.
All right. Eventually,
All right.
Now in my mind, it's like he stumbled back after the attack, like collapsed onto his tube, like his eyes went pure white, and his friends were just like, "Oh, that's Nicolae for you." And they just float down the river with essentially a corpse until he comes back to reality.
Yep.
Not minutes or hours, but days later he comes back.
you made it down to Village Park where the exit was, right?
Eventually.
And there's some video of you relaxed in your tube, kind of playing in the water with your hand, right?
Objection as to form.
Sustained.
Do you remember seeing the video of you
I remember seeing the video.
relaxing in your tube before you got back to the end?
Objection as to form.
Sustained.
Did you see the video or not?
I said I did.
When you
Even
got
he's
to
getting
Village
annoyed
Park,
with the
you
repetitive
exited
with
the
his
river,
defense attorney
right?
saying objection.
Yes.
There was multiple police in the area, right?
Yes.
You saw a uniformed officer with his gun drawn, walking towards you, right?
Right.
You didn't approach that officer.
I was afraid of everybody at
You were
that
afraid
time.
that
Stupid.
Yeah, well.
Stupid. Fucking stupid. I mean, even if you wanted to be the most charitable person in the world and you like, because it is a crime to be black and or a shade darker than white in America in some places, I can almost see like being scared of like the possibility, but it never works out or at least I have not seen a case yet where like the kid ran when they caught him, wrangled him, and got him into the thing. Like, he wasn't just scared. He was just scared because he shot someone. He was scared because he was breaking and entering. Like, you're not just scared of the cops. Like, I see policemen all the time. I don't just like run, but if they're definitely chasing you and they tell you specifically to stop, like, am I the only one? Like, evading arrest is a crime. If they tell you to stop, just stop. Because even if you don't have anything, you don't got charges, you don't got warrants, you're just going to catch some. For what?
You're afraid of the officer?
I was afraid of anything and everybody. I was afraid of anything. I couldn't, I was still in shock, so I was
I saw a catfish, and it looked like he was holding a blackjack, and he was going to hit me with it.
afraid of everything, yes.
You didn't approach the officer and say,
I'm
they
scared.
tried to kill me, I defended myself, nothing like that, right?
I don't remember saying anything
So
like that
scared.
to anybody.
You walked right by him, right?
All that.
Right, you can't fill a river with blood for no reason and say you're scared. Yeah, that's what these people do. Is like when, in it's just depending on. Are you familiar with the concept of like oblique light? So like light coming from the top of something versus the side. It's the same object, but lighting can change the fundamental features of it because that's just the way it is. It definitely feels like he was playing to the room thinking the light was above him and he could hide a bunch of stuff. Because like with like fluorescent lighting, you don't have a shadow because there's so many sources. You just sort of exist in this bath of light. When all it takes is just a little bit on the side and you go, well, what about all this? Because in a vacuum, yeah, when they go, okay, what happened here? That's the soft lighting of the fluorescence of like an office building. When you get to sit in like a police car or an interrogation room and you're going to hope that they don't have video or evidence or anything like that, you can go like, oh yeah, I was scared, but then I rose above it and like wheel kicked the dude and the guy pulled some nunchucks, so I grabbed those and I broke them over my knee, and then a guy came at me with a katana. That's light from all angles because you don't know what they have. As soon as they move that light to the side, it's like sanding a surfboard. All of the imperfections that you have to get rid of show. Except in this case, you can't get rid of them because it's your fucking life.
That is a blur. I don't remember it.
Once you got further up the path, though, other officers were able to pick you out of your group, right?
That's how I was arrested.
Apparently, yes.
Apparently.
They stopped you,
Allegedly.
right, before you could leave the park.
Yeah, you were
I don't
arrested.
remember that.
You don't
Just say yes. We're going to watch the video, guys. Good news. We're going to watch the video.
remember the police stopping you and detaining you in the park after this incident?
I remember being stopped, but I don't remember the details.
Sure.
Yeah, why would you?
You were aware that the police had a picture of you from the river, right?
Obviously.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Okay. So,
I don't remember.
like my kid says, sure.
Do you remember the police had to take your hat and glasses off to make sure that it was you in the picture?
Nope. I was focused on one thing only.
Leaving.
What could, like, a police officer is pulling articles from your body. What are you so heavily focused on? You don't realize you're being addressed by another man. Like, you look down and your peen's exposed and you go, whoa, I was just playing Scrabble in my mind.
Somebody with a bat that I've seen in the woods
Oh, this fucking
and
bat person.
across that whatever bridge, the little bridge, Rainbow Bridge, whatever. I was
Yeah, some mystery person.
A mystery bat.
Yeah, like Diane Downs' Shaggy Man or anybody's black male that breaks in and does stuff. There was some mystery character with a bat taunting him like that guy outside of Cyrax's house.
I was focused on him. I was very afraid of that person.
Did you ever say to an officer, hey, there's a guy over there with a bat and that's
It's a Jose Canseco bat.
concerning me, can you do something about it?
No.
Why would I?
You were put
I'm a
into a
grown-ass
squad car,
man.
right? Said yes?
Yes.
Sheriff Knudsen came over to make sure you were comfortable, right?
I saw that in the video, yes.
You don't remember talking to Sheriff Knudsen?
No.
You remember him asking?
Do you have massive Alzheimer's? Like, have you had a CT scan and your brain looks like Swiss cheese, my dude? At this point, that's the only viable explanation for unless you're being like systematically abducted by aliens and you wake up with your butthole stretched out and in total pain. Like, where is your time going?
I'm asking you, well, if you don't remember, you don't remember. We're going to play that video, and then I have some questions for you.
Boy, do I ever. We'll actually get to see a little bit of this one, so buckle up. It's not that great, though.
Your Honor, this is the longer version of the video that's been referenced. It's 1 minute and 59 seconds.
So long.
Almost 2 minutes. Sustained.
That's when you're ready.
So this is going to be the like the no time to think story. So typically what will happen is if you're going to be a liar, you can see this in the criminal justice process. The knee-jerk story is what you're going to tell the arresting officer, which will have no tie to reality because you did the thing, you're too stupid to have pre-planned beyond turning your knife up so you can gut him like a fish. So now you have to go like, I don't know, it looks like it was something that there wasn't. He's Italian all of a sudden.
Camera recording started.
Yeah, Brick says, my memory is pretty bad, but at times, but I'm sure I'd remember that time those kids got stabbed at the river.
Right, like we go to a lot of places and I'll lose a lot of the fine details, but I remember faces, events, conversations, like human type stuff that is captured in your short-term memory that is then transferred to your long-term memory. Should it be significant enough? I don't need to explain how you guys' memory works. You have fucking brains, right?
Still doing all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
What's the
temperature? Temperature's okay in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear somebody got stabbed.
Great. What a thing to offer. Hey, I hear somebody got stabbed. This is after he has been approached at gunpoint and basically stripped of all his disguise.
Yeah.
And I fit the
I hear.
description.
Yes, you do.
All right.
Yep. So we're working through that now. Did you see that fight?
This is almost as good as Dalton Aiken and Corey Fitzwater when Dalton Aiken's being interrogated. He's like, I think I kind of know what this is about. Did somebody get shot? Yeah, Dalton, they did. How'd you know?
Fight on the river.
I heard about it.
You heard about it?
Yeah, and
On the news. It happened 14 minutes ago. I saw it on Fox 9.
I seen people gather around it.
Okay. All right.
And I went over to talk to see if somebody saw anything, but that's about it.
Okay.
Our whole group was pretty interested in finding out what happened.
Okay.
Pretty interesting.
Our
The
whole group.
I mean, don't ask me how many of them there were. I think one of them might have left.
I don't
Cannot
know.
confirm. It's alleged. I talked to one guy to see what was going on. So due diligence, check.
And that's your whole group over there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know. Okay, well,
Did you see anybody injured?
no.
You didn't see anybody injured?
No.
Did you see anybody fighting?
I heard people screaming at each other, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Screaming in anger or screaming in pain? Do you know?
Everybody's drunk, so I don't know. I can't tell the difference, but
Does he come across as markedly inebriated compared to how he's in the stand? I would offer no.
No.
The words aren't slurred. The accent is as it is being presented to us on the stand.
Yeah.
This isn't like a Sarah Boone where I was like, well, clearly you can tell I've been drinking. Clearly. You
A
can
liter
tell.
and a half of wine.
Yeah, screaming and fun. They were all screaming, yay, my organs are being exposed to the air. Hooray,
Hooray.
they said. And they blow party poppers.
say
Tommy was his dad.
just screaming.
Okay.
Yeah, calling each other names.
They said some Bulgarian guy was committing murder, but I'm Serbian, so it wasn't me.
That's, I've seen that all day.
I've seen it all
They've
day.
all been drinking a lot. I'm sure they're drunk. I'm sure they're doing, I don't know.
I'm sure they're
Sex?
doing. I don't want to say drugs, but I'm implying it.
Kids being kids.
Kids being kids. Where are you? Where's your group from? Where did you drive from today?
I drove from Prior Lake.
From Prior Lake.
Yeah.
Okay.
From one body of water to another. Kids being kids. You know? Can't tell you how many knife fights I was in when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Too many to count. I was just a kid being a kid. You know, I'd turn my blade up and I'd say, let's get this done. Slit up some people.
Actually, we didn't drive it. We came here alone.
Your wife and you?
Yeah.
And you met the group here?
Yeah, but we know each other.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I didn't imply that you met here like today for the first time and decided to go tubing.
You brought your cars here separately from you came separately.
Isn't it amazing he was able to like delineate the nuance here, but every other question he's been asked, he's like, I don't remember. I don't get it.
Brick says here,
As long as
reminds
the
me of my
temperature's good,
alcoholic friend of how I'm probably my alcoholic friend talks when he gets to a certain point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Like Sheriff Knudsen, right?
I don't remember that conversation. But yes,
You sound totally lucid,
I-
so
You told him that you heard there was a stabbing, right?
I don't remember any of this stuff.
You're fishing for information about what happened, right?
I heard
like,
that
as-
somebody got stabbed.
he was fishing with dynamite, right? Like the nuance, like it's like fly fishing where you're like letting this little thing you handcrafted dance upon the surface of the water. That would be nuance. Whereas like he pulled an M80 out of his pocket, lit it, and threw it over the side of the boat. And he's like, stabbing? I don't know how to answer that.
I don't know what you could say I was fishing. I don't know.
You asked him some questions about what had happened, right?
Again, I don't remember this conversation.
But
Yeah,
you were
but-
pretending that you didn't know what happened.
You just watched it.
Isn't that true?
No.
The jury's probably like, what the fuck are
At
we
the
doing
point that
here?
you're talking to Sheriff Knudsen and saying these things, you didn't know
Lies.
there was a video of what happened on the river, did you?
I didn't know.
Just assume you're always on camera. Just
Yeah.
assume you are always being recorded. It can only benefit you. At worst, no, maybe at best. Let's start with at best. At best, it'll keep your fucking finger out of your nose because if you think someone's watching you, you'll be less inclined to pick and or dig into your ass. And at worst, I guess if that's the sliding scale from best to worst, at worst or maybe at most, at least it'll keep your finger out of your nose. At most, it'll remind you that you shouldn't be entering into pissing contests that exist only in your own mind.
Know whether I was dead or alive at that point.
She also didn't know that there was a video, right?
No.
Right, but since I didn't know if I was a ghost or still had a corporeal body, I was like, what is a video? I was like, way out, dude. Way.
When the sheriff asked you what had happened, one of your responses was it was kids being kids, right?
Great. It's a good defense.
I don't remember any of that conversation.
You just
You
heard
just saw it.
We
just say
just heard it.
yes.
yourself say it on the video, though.
So,
Objection, no foundation.
So, no foundation. We just saw the video, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Oh, God
I'll
damn.
move on. Prior to being taken to jail, you were transferred from that squad car that you were in to a different squad car, right? Remember that?
No?
Do you remember at some point Deputy Thomason telling you that you were under arrest for homicide and attempted homicide?
I don't remember any of that.
How?
When you spoke with Lieutenant Hart, even though you'd been informed that you were being arrested for homicide, you pretended to know that, to not be aware that someone had died, right?
Objection as to form.
Overruled. Right? When you were talking to Lieutenant Hart,
Over here at the jail?
yeah,
I don't remember any of that conversation.
you don't recall pretending to not be aware that someone had died.
Objection assumes a fact.
Another part of this that is sort of now becoming an issue annoyance-wise is, and I do this too sometimes, like when you're looking to get somebody checked back into a conversation you feel is slipping away, I'll pepper in a couple of rights in my conversation with them to sort of bring them back. Seeing as how every other question this man asks ends in right, it feels a little like JV.
Sustained.
When you're talking to Lieutenant Hart, that was about 4 hours after you'd been arrested, right?
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I learned.
And then you had time to put together a story, right?
No,
No, I didn't have those 4 hours to put together a story.
You had 4 hours to come up with a story about what happened on the river before you were interviewed by Lieutenant Hart, right?
And thank God, because if you stuck with that kids being kids story, it would have been, funnier for us, but like tragic for you.
We'd still be here.
no,
You didn't have that time.
I didn't put a story together.
Okay. So when you told her things like, 2 of these boys pulled knives on me, you're telling the truth?
No,
That was a story, right?
correct.
And when you said that you somehow managed to grab one of the boys' arms and bend their wrist back and stab them with their own knife, that's a story you made up, right?
I told her what I remembered.
You remember doing that?
No, everything I told her.
No, I told her what I remembered, and so, damn it. I guess so. Yeah, I did.
Got me.
Well, can I phone a friend?
Is what I remembered at that time.
At the
So
time,
you remembered a lie. That's what's so great about Nicolae's memory, is like he can't solidify any memory, but when he is forced to, like, what's that called? The something colobus colloquium or whatever. The material in your brain that connects the left and right hemispheres for like communication. When that's cut, if one of your hemispheres makes up a lie, the other side will try to justify it. That's what this feels like. He's saying something from his left lobe, and then when he says it and hears it, and his right lobe takes it in, and he goes, wait, no, and then has to make up another outlandish lie. And it's just this ping pong of like lie and justification. When again, we have the video. We have the video.
you told her these things. You thought that you would grab someone's arm and stab them with their own knife?
As you can see, I was very confused.
Did you not
No,
testify
I don't
earlier that
see
you
that.
lied about the knife?
That I did.
And then nobody else had a knife on the river except for you.
That I lied about the knife.
So it's impossible then for you to have twisted someone's arm and
Yeah, you ain't kidding, Rachel.
Yeah.
It does feel like a 4 to 6 year old boy telling you about why your favorite article in the house is now in pieces on the floor.
stab them with their own knife, right?
I saw the video.
No, I'm asking
yeah,
what
we
you
all saw
said
the
to
video.
Lieutenant Hart.
I don't remember the interview, but I saw the video. And
Great. Firmly established. We all have seen the video.
You're aware.
I know that it's not right. It's not true.
Not just a couple of little lies,
The whole thing.
lie on top of a lie.
Basically the whole
Lieutenant Hart,
story.
right?
The tip of the tip of the tip of the lie.
Well, let's talk about some of the things you told her. You said, these boys took the goggles off my head and threw them down the river, right? You told her that?
Well, see, why not stick to this sort of shit instead of like really hammering home somebody's name and if they saw them at the place? Why not? But that's why I feel like maybe I don't want to like throw shade at Wisconsin, but there's probably not a lot of high profile, like big cases that get this much
airtime
or whatever. So it does feel like it feels like a writer, director, producer making his own movie where he doesn't want anything nothing he does needs to hit the cutting room floor. So all the questions of, so this guy, you saw this guy, he was wearing this shorts, this was his name, blah, 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 blah. We go, oh my God. Chandler Hollison was in Wisconsin. That's true. But like,
So
he didn't get up on the stand.
Yeah,
so,
neither did she business, and she
I
was
mean,
in Wisconsin too.
Even Chandler Halderson, the master of the worst lies, was like, you know, maybe I
good.
won't get up on the stand. Maybe not. Maybe that's not for me.
If that's what the video recorded, yes.
All right, you told her that these boys tried to pull down your shorts, right?
That's what I saw in the video, but I don't remember
That did not happen in the video.
the interview.
That's a detail you added for your benefit, right?
No.
You
No?
said these
Maybe.
boys attacked you, right? You told her that
Even he knew his limits.
multiple
Chandler.
times, right?
I saw the video.
Did you say
Stop saying that. We know you saw the fucking video.
that or not? Yes or
I
no?
said that in the video. Yes.
And you knew that wasn't true, right?
I mean, I don't remember if it was not true or if it was true, but it
But I
definitely
saw the
was
video.
a lie, even though it may or may not have been something I could have remembered. But then it slipped from my mind, like a man on a banana peel down a double-decker flight of stairs.
So, in the video, I lied. I totally lied about
Everything.
the knife.
Totes.
Yeah, the knife, the amount of people, the amount of knives, his actions, their
The
actions.
goggles. Yep. Yep.
So what was the truth? Like your name? It's like when you start the SATs and you get every answer wrong, but your name is right.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations,
points.
you got fucking 200 points or whatever it's worth.
What's this about a video?
I didn't remember a lot of details. I didn't remember of anything. I don't even remember the interview. I just looking at the video. I can look at it like anybody would look at it for the first time. I don't remember any of that.
You told Lieutenant Hart that these boys told
At least at no point while watching these videos did he go, "You're killing me, guys."
you don't run away from us.
English is not my
Remember
first
saying that?
language, so
No.
In fact, it's just the opposite. They were telling you to go, right?
I don't remember.
You told her that a second boy had a knife, attacked you with the knife, and you took that from him.
Right, Brick? Like, but that's the beauty of the human brain, is like his higher function totally gone. Thank God his hypothalamus and his brainstem are there. Otherwise, like, imagine being Nicolae and like losing that. You would just be like a guy on life support who just can't remember, can't make new memories, can't remember old memories, can't talk to his friends, doesn't know when conversations are happening. He's like a walking vegetable. Like if Terry Schiavo woke up and just like walked around, but like still couldn't interact with anybody, he's Helen Keller, the dude.
That from him, right?
That's what I saw in the video.
That's not true either, right?
Yeah, none of it was.
Right?
That's not true.
You said that when you walked back to your group, and this is talking to Lieutenant Hart, that Ernesto asked you if you had found the phone, right? You remember saying that to her?
Yeah, I saw the video. I saw the movie. You weren't in Kindergarten Cop? I saw the video.
I don't remember any of that conversation I had with her.
Yeah, that wasn't true either, right?
If this is all part of that interview, I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
So
That's what we're talking about. We're talking
Yeah, we're still in that moment.
we
my
haven't
dude.
left it.
about the interview with Lieutenant Hart.
then I don't remember the interview.
Okay, I still get to ask you questions about
Sure.
it.
Sure.
You were specifically asked,
Come up for a third helping if I don't remember.
Yeah.
I love that flavor.
did you have a knife? Right? Do you remember being asked that?
I don't remember that, but I know
No.
I was.
Your answer to Lieutenant Hart was no, no, absolutely no, right?
Right.
Sure.
Which
Huh.
I
Is a
lied.
lie.
I know I lied about the knife.
How do you know? You would need to remember it.
I don't remember, but
Here's
I
the thing.
remember knowing that I didn't.
You don't know shit until it's a memory. Like math, for instance. You don't have to do certain simple math anymore. Like people just know 2 + 2. But you only know that because it was drilled into you and it's a memory.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a memory of it, you don't know it. But nobody wants to get up on the, Wisconsin pulpit here and go like, let's talk about metaphysics and the formations of memory and the nature of knowing. But I like to, because I would like to get up in front of this guy and say exactly that and go, so what, Nicolae? And he'll go, I saw the video, and then I'll throw up in his lap.
You said to her, why did they want to scare me with a knife? Right? Talking about the boys, the 17-year-olds. When none of them ever had a knife, right? Is that right?
Yes?
Apparently not.
Because why would they have a knife? They just wanted to get to the beach.
Huh, they didn't even want those cookies.
Said I grabbed it, meaning the knife, from him
Meaning your dick from your pants.
because he tried to poke me with it.
Ouch.
Ah.
Do you remember saying that?
Nope.
You said a woman hit you in the ear. Do you remember saying that?
Nope.
No.
I got tinnitus.
You know that's not true, right?
Objection, foundation.
Overruled.
I had to think about it for a second.
You sit here now, right?
Right.
You told the police, and
You guys know that meme of like from the Star Wars prequel where Obi-Wan and Anakin and Obi's like, it's over, Anakin, I've got the high ground. Like as if Obi-Wan, instead of having the high ground, was at the bottom of like a 10-foot pit with 2 bubbling vats of molten lead above him. And then being like, aha, I've got the... Indefensible is what I'm talking about here. This position is indefensible. He's in a tiger trap. He is skewered multiple times with feces-covered bamboo shoots. And yet he's like, nah, dog, I don't think so.
The knife is for river shark protection.
You thought
Hey, those bull sharks, they'll work, right up in there. They're not just brackish, they go fresh too. So in Wisconsin, though, it's a little out of their range.
it was 2 different groups of people fighting against each other, right?
The Crips and the Bloods.
I don't remember.
The Jets
telling
and the
her that.
Sharks.
Right. As you sit here today, that is completely made up, right?
Complete bullshit, but I can't say that.
Yeah.
Again, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, imagine being Nicolae and like not only going down the river, not remembering it, but like getting caught in like a river gang war. Like he's in the middle of these 2 warring factions, and he's simply just a man who was standing his ground, who decided to build his house in the middle of the Hatfields and McCoy's property.
That you're talking about right now, if it's about the interview.
You told Lieutenant Hart that you wanted to stay in the area and watch the police come and arrest these people for fighting, right?
I don't remember.
That's what you told Lieutenant Hart?
That's what's in the transcript, yes.
When you were told that a person had died, your response was,
cool.
Is it because they fought each other? That's what you told her, right? That's how you responded?
If that's what the transcript
If
says.
it's in the transcript,
Ah. Hey, Shonda.
but I don't remember.
Fuck out of
You
here.
never told Lieutenant Hart that you punched or pushed or did anything to Maddie Cohen, right? You left that part out?
Is that what it's in there?
I'm asking if you ever told her that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember your officerness, your high prosecutorial dude.
You remember to
You
dye
didn't
his hair.
mention that you had
Peter Rivers. You ever seen that movie Zombiever? It could have been one of those situations. He was fighting for his life out there.
stabbed and severely injured another woman, Riley Madison. You didn't mention that to Lieutenant Hart, right?
Objection, form.
That makes me look terrible.
Women,
You
right?
never mentioned that part.
I don't remember.
You didn't mention being strangled at any point, right?
If that's the transcript, then that we go by that, but I don't remember that interview.
And I think what you said earlier is that you were afraid you were going to die from being strangled, and that's why you stabbed Isaac Schumann in the heart, right? That was your testimony earlier?
Sure.
Loading.
Didn't you say that today? This afternoon during court?
Oh, file not found.
Yes.
Don't remember.
That's not anything you mentioned to any police officer, right?
Ever.
If I didn't mention, I didn't mention it. I don't remember that.
Listen, I didn't have 5 years and 8 lawyers to craft a finely honed narrative.
Yeah.
And, I didn't even have the time to make up like a help wanted ad. Right? Hello, I need help. Nicolae.
It's not an important
Take a shot for every
detail
time he
that you
says in
thought
the
you might wanna
transcript or
point out.
video.
No, you'll die.
Everything is every detail is important. We all know that.
It's just
Yeah.
too bad I don't know details or even gross action. I don't remember emotion. I don't remember colors, sounds, shapes, flavors, or smells.
I don't know where I am now.
But if the transcript said it, I don't know why my accent's all over the place with this guy.
But I don't remember saying any of those things to Lieutenant Hart.
Because you didn't say them, right? That's why you don't remember.
Is what?
You didn't say those things to her. That's why you don't remember, correct?
I don't remember what I said or what I didn't say to her. I don't remember even.
Well, you wouldn't remember what you didn't say because you wouldn't have said it. Therefore, there wouldn't be a memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never walked up to someone and said, I'm going to kick you in the hemorrhoids because I don't have a memory of it. I never did it. It's out of my realm of reality. It's a weird thing to say. Therefore, I have no memory of it. If I ever did, you better believe I'd be like, that's a weird thing to say, Dave. Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that?
having
Why'd
an
you do
interview
that?
with her.
So you can't remember anything about what you told her, but when Mr. Nelson's asking you questions, you can remember all these feelings you had at the time. Is that true?
I'm not a, goddamn, what was it? He's not a psychic. He's an empath. I remember emotions.
Yeah.
Like if a Klingon is spitting in my face and throwing blood soup in my pants, I might feel there's some aggression there.
Do you remember answering his questions about how you were feeling that day?
The feelings I had when I was attacked.
And when you
I
were
felt
meeting
attacked.
with
I remember
Lieutenant
that
Hart?
feeling.
Yeah.
Objection then. Can we approach?
Any more hissing, Your
approach?
Honor? All right, tell you what, we're pretty much done. We've hit all the high points. You basically see what's going on. The reality of the situation is he got blitzed on a river, decided to make his problem somebody else's who he thought he could kick down to. When he realized that there was no down to kick,
Yep.
he pulled the knife. So, yeah, he went to jail, prison, rather. He's going to be there for the rest of his life. And obviously, but again, like, this isn't so much a message of true crime because, like, there are instances where multi-faceted situations can come along where you're being cheated on or there's money involved, there's stress. And I understand, like, a life can be like a pressure cooker. This is just the antithesis of that. It's nothing connected. It's just someone wanting to exert a little bit of power, HOA style or PTA style or whatever group of, like, do nothing, stay at home moms who want to tell other people what to do because if they can't, they have nothing to live for. I don't know, man. Like, because that's the thing with people like this, and like with people like Sarah, or people like Nicolae, or whoever. 99 times out of 100, you'll either walk away being the victor or feeling like you are because you're deluded.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's even like 999 out of 1,000 because I'm sure these people are getting other people's faces all the fucking time without anyone dying. It's just, do you want to roll those dice? Because even a broken clock is right twice a day. If you keep shooting your shot, expecting there to be nothing behind that wall. One day you might find out there's a school back there and you've done some horrible damage.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to take stock of yourself, raise your self-awareness. If someone is being annoying, like, what do you lose? There's there's no honor among thieves, but there's respect is a big currency. There's no respect among scumbags. So getting a one-up on literally anybody means nothing in the long-term events of anything ever, even in the short-term events. Because if you walk away feeling the victor, like Michael Dunn or Michael Drejka, and like a law wasn't broken, let's say, like you just were a bitch to someone. And you've probably been in this situation too. Like if you've ever been in retail or whatever, where like someone who is not, like there's just a customer, they come in and they dress you down and they get to turn around and walk away going like, yeah, I told a guy who makes $7 an hour he was a fuckwit. Well, as soon as you are out of earshot, you are talked mad shit about by not only the person you were dressing down, but all their friends.
Right.
And
right.
now with social media, it's not even like you can just be a bitch and go unscathed, because you're going to end up on TikTok if you're not taking it to the extreme like Nicolae did. You're going to end up on TikTok or Instagram or some other thing where you're just a fucking clown. And you'll do something stupid and you'll like lose your job, for instance. Like you just be a bitch to someone. And guess what? Your high paying job, gonzo. And that's like a favorable situation when compared to this. Because like losing your job, you could probably like duck the heat for a little while because the internet moves so fast. Like you're working for State Farm, you can go to Merrill Lynch in a month. And even if they do Google you, it'll be so passe. Like meme culture moves fast. Internet is like a light speed train. The problem is when you fuck around so much that you find out in a legal way, because that's what a lot of these idiots don't internalize, or they just take for granted that other people, like you can treat them like shit because it's not their job to do this. Police, it's their job to essentially find out what you did wrong. And not only what you did wrong, like in this instance, but all the other stuff. Because you can turn one action into 12 charges.
Yep.
Don't fuck around with your fucking lives.
Don't stop.
Thinking about tomorrow. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you did, I appreciate it. We've got more ahead. I've got some videos coming up. They're a little long, but more of this sort of courtroom stuff where we'll get to it eventually. But it's like this guy decided to be his own defense attorney or whatever, and he like examines his wife on the stand, who he abducted and nearly murdered.
What?
Like the balls of this dude. But that's the thing. There are so many people out there who had their balls and brains replaced and they don't understand it. Oh, hold on.
Daddy, but I dropped some sauce on the floor.
God. Wrong one. Anyway, but yeah, that's it. What a wild ride. So again, just to reiterate, don't enter pissing contests. I don't care what the fucking prize is. The loser gets at worst life. Lawyer, when you hear the Mirandas, lawyer. Don't get on the stand. That's it.
I think that's like the biggest one for me. Like, if you're gonna surpass the asking for a lawyer,
because you can be naive and say, I don't need a lawyer, I'm innocent, and then just get railroaded. But at that's what I'm saying. When all else fails, don't do yourself the hat trick and just nail your own coffin shut.
Then don't stab people.
Oh yeah, don't stab people too. But that just sort of rolls in to just be like a nice person, right?
Right.
Or at best, don't be a person to just pick fights with people for literally no gain. If at the end of this rainbow, you walk away with nothing more than just the satisfaction of being a dickhead or being one bad bitch, enjoy your shopping at Walmart, okay? So that's all I got for you. We will see you on the next episode of whatever this is. I've got some other stuff I want to try out. We'll get into it later. Smell you guys later.
Bye.
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.